The Z to Z Podcast.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Z to Z Podcast, the home for Xbox achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies. I'm your host, Brandon Freeman. Thank you so much for listening. At Z to Z, we love gaming, and in particular, grabbing achievements and gaining Gamerscore. We do news, reviews, and interviews. If it's about achievements, we'll unlock it. You can find show notes for this show, as well as previous shows, on our website, z2z.com. This is episode 87. You can also contact us with questions or comments on Twitter, at Z2Z, over at our forums, forum.z2z.com, or email us directly, contact@z2z.com. So, I'm back for the week. It is great. I'm so excited to be back, and I'm joined with my favorite co-hosts, the consistent duo of Proulx and Randy. How are you gentlemen doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Come on, Randy. Like, I'm setting you up. Like, I got the energy feeling. I got my coffee. Proulx is amped.
I know,
right.
But it's like, you know.
How can you not, man? It's Friday.
Yeah. But then
You
it's
just,
almost
you just
okay.
you just had an accomplishment.
I did, but the rest of my week was not that great.
It's all about the moments, Randy. You got to focus on the
but
moments
no,
that are
I
like
don't
now.
See, the rain
Revel
gets
in the
me,
present.
The rain gets me down. And I was going to say something, and I lost my train of thought.
So now you're even more angry? That's just setting you up?
I don't know. It's that rain cloud. I got to keep that rain cloud going to keep me miserable.
Gotcha.
You don't have to.
That's,
well, here.
Okay, I remember what I was
about-
going to say now, because,
yeah.
it's Friday, which means it's almost Sunday, which means it's almost Monday, which means it's back to work.
Oh, you can't be one of those people.
That's the way the weekend looks to me.
Yeah, gotcha.
Not really.
So,
That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but, gotta
Okay.
keep up the image,
Yeah, I gotcha. We got a few announcements before we talk about, Randy, what, to try and get you out of the doldrums. So two of the things that we want to talk about, of course, we want to mention Patreon. We're now above our maintain threshold, which is awesome. Thank you so much again, everybody who is who's a donator. You people are fantastic. Just one more PSA: if you don't have your gold Discord name, because I couldn't get the integration to work for whatever reason, I'm computer illiterate. I'm doing it manually, so if I messed it up, let me know, because I know we got some new patrons, so when it turns over for the month of August, you guys should get your gold names, or you should keep your gold names and whatnot. So make sure I know so that I can fix it, and of course, now that we're over, we're going to take that, whatever's left there, and start giving it back to patrons. So, dial in your entries, so that you make sure you get your optimum reward potential, and so then you can come home with a prize. So there's that, and then there's this piece of news which is new to me, Randy, because you just mentioned it right now, but I think it's a great idea. The first ever Z to Z live show. Yes, we're doing it. We're doing it live.
People keep telling us to do it, so
we should.
It's time to do it, I think.
So, what is it? Friday? Did you say the 25th? August 25th?
2
is that
weeks
actually
from
a Friday?
now, yes, Friday, August 25th will be our first ever live show. The plan is to do it on Twitch and Beam, now known as Mixer, which I refuse to call it Mixer, even though I accidentally did twice before the show. So we're going to try and do it on both channels. We're going to, have, obviously, the Mixer stream will be the focus, but we also want to be on Twitch just for kind of more visibility, more reach. So hopefully that'll all work out. If not, it will be on Mixer as the only place. But we're gonna try for both. I'll play around the next couple of weeks, see if I can get something going for us. And
that'll be awesome.
And we will be streaming over Clicker Heroes, just so everyone is aware.
We're not streaming over Money Clicker.
The goal is to get video, but that's a stretch goal because I have already established incompetent with computers. So for me to set up a webcam properly,
you don't have to set it up. I have to figure out, because I'm going to be the one beaming the stream out. So I just have to figure out a way to capture your video and then put it on the stream properly with everything else. So we'll see how that goes. Still a stretch goal. Not sure if that's actually going to work, but we'll give it a go.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So I'm excited. So I definitely have audio, of course, and we'll have chat. So if you ever wanted to bother us, even more than you already do in the community, try and derail the show, which I'm sure you're going to do.
That could be dangerous.
Yeah, all that sort of stuff. Chat will be alive and well. We might have to pull in some reinforcements just to manage that. I know our crowd. They can get a little riled up. But I'm so excited. It should be a lot of fun. And then, of course, if you can't listen to it live, we would record on a Friday evening in the United States. So that doesn't, necessarily fit with the rest of the world. I know the European listeners, you guys should be sleeping unless you have a awesome Friday night. And it's midday Saturday for you Aussies. So
a good time for Aussies.
Who knows there. Yeah, unless they have something to do in the middle of the day. Because it's certainly not Labor Day weekend, because they don't celebrate Labor Day when we do, even though it's the week prior.
That's McRoadtrip weekend. We're not streaming anything live that weekend. We're eating McPizza.
McPizzas. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so we'll continue to promote it, but we would love if you guys could help promote it too. That, help spread the word that we're going to have a live show, see how many people we can get to tune in and watch a talk show, a podcast happen live. You can see how animated I get, and how I don't necessarily look at the computer. But whatever. I'll try and
you can see how
much
gets edited out. In between,
from
when we record to when we go live, stuff changes. So you get all the fun stuff.
Oh, yeah,
uncensored.
That's right.
Uncensored.
Double
too.
Listens.
Oh, that's right. If there are any swears that may not have made it into
exciting.
the final show, you could hear them there.
Oh, my gosh. So, all right. You mentioned swears, and I just
you're calling
had
them
a
swears.
bit of a meltdown. I just had a meltdown that it was... I have to mention it again. So because I'm still really heated about it, because I've been trying to tune in to Disney XD and watch their video game content, because they're trying to get a broader reach, and so I want to see what is it that these people are doing maybe that is getting into people's homes via cable. And I continually, I don't know how every time it happens, it's a 2-hour block of time. And I always come in the show Polaris Primetime, which is the show produced by Jimmy Wong, the creator of Video Game High School. And I loved Video Game High School. I thought it was clever and it was fun. The YouTube series, you can go back and watch it. I really enjoyed that. Okay, but I don't like Polaris Primetime. It is a terrible premise for a show, and it makes me want to puke. And what I watched here, because I've already ranted about this before, because it's ridiculous. People are like feigning interest in video games. But tonight, they have literally made me vomit in my mouth with the travesty that they showed on TV. And that was, so... Again, the premise is it's a TMZ style show. There's a few people sitting on a couch. They're around a TV playing video games. It is a large studio, and then there are multiple personalities standing around. They're likely streamers or YouTubers. Then every single one of them has their cell phone out. In addition to the normal cameras, the steady cams, the production cameras that you would have on a TV set. Like, literally, this thing is filled with probably 30 different recording devices on stage at any given time, so that you can catch the real reaction of the crowd, and they'll do selfies and have a quip and do crap like that.
Wow, how cool and hip
Fine,
they are.
Whatever. That's fine. I don't, whatever. It doesn't make for good TV, but maybe that's what the kids are into. I don't know. But this is the travesty that just happened. Okay, so I wasn't aware of this, but Jimmy Wong's brother apparently is pretty good at Rock Band. I'm not necessarily familiar with his exploits, and I have to assume what they presented on the show was accurate, that he was a world champion and choked in one of the finals where he was supposed to win and essentially gave up playing Rock Band. So they had this, this cute little skit, which is like, fine, whatever. They went and searched for his old guitar. He didn't know about it, and then they come out with this relic, and they blow the dust off of the Guitar Hero guitar, and they go to play a duet together, Jimmy and his brother, the former world champion Rock Band player, or Guitar Hero guy. And so they queue up Through the Fire and Flames. Split screen, here we go. I'm like, okay, if I'm really watching someone who is, in theory, good at this game, this should be entertaining. That's where it stopped, right there, because they didn't play the damn song. They faked it the whole time. They were messing up constantly. I'm watching the highway, and it's like duff after crap after miss. They can't keep a chain going. They have changed the HUD and blocked everything out, so you can't see note streaks. You can't see star power. You can't see any of that. It's just the note highway, because they're screwing up constantly. They turn it off and it's in no-fail mode, so they can't mess up. And they're literally just dancing around the TV trying to put on what effectively is an air guitar show, right? Like, look, I'm fake playing guitar to a song that's really difficult. Okay, that's travesty number one. Travesty number two, then, is all these ass clowns in the background with their cell phones going like, ah, and they're like hyperventilating and freaking out, and like one girl faked fainting on the ground saying, I just saw greatness, and this other guy is like, no, they said Rock was dead, this is amazing, and like people are losing their like absolutely losing their minds over fake guitar. It is such a travesty of video games, and I don't know how this millennial YouTube generation streaming thing, like, I'm actually probably ruining our chances of having a decent podcast recording, because I just don't get it. Like, I can't just fake it like this clown show that I just watched. It just doesn't work.
Now just imagine that feeling, that anger, and that disgust. And that's how I feel about Rock Band every day.
This has been Fream's Weekly Screams about Disney XD, our newest feature here.
I'd have to keep one.
We need to get an intro for that. Fream's Weekly Screams about Disney Channel.
Oh man, that entire thing, the whole thing that Fream just did could literally be condensed into "Get Off My Lawn."
I need people to watch this with me. Like, if I I need to commiserate. Like, I can't believe you don't have cable, and I can't believe. Well, I can believe it's a terrible waste of money. I do actually believe why people cord cut, but like, I want to commiserate with people. I need people to watch this program and just. And like, save in a cup the amount of puke that comes out, because it's palpable how much vomit you're gonna upchuck.
Okay, this is what we need to do. So, Fream, you need to record whatever show it is that's disgusted you this week, with this caused your weekly scream. We need to save a few up, and then maybe once a month we'll have a Shovelware Cemetery TV edition, Fream's Weekly Screams edition, and we'll all get together, and instead of doing a podcast that week, we're just going to comment on this show.
Kind of like,
we can record it and publish it as the podcast that week, but also have a live stream and video on YouTube for later.
He's just like videotaping me freaking out over just awful television.
Well, it's by the sounds of things, it's going to be all of us.
Also, are you saying that the portrayal of Guitar Hero / Rock Band was less accurate than it was in South Park?
Oh, I don't.
It sounds like
it was pretty bad. No, I mean, this was by all accounts. Let me picture this, right? So let's cater back toward and this Proulx and Randy. This is probably over both of your heads, but to the rest of my listening audience, they would understand. This reminds me of like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Wild Stallions type pantomiming fake guitar. Like, that is the level here of Mila, 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 Mila. The just that fake, like, that's what they were doing. They were like back to back. They were like intertwining guitars and playing each other's note pads. They were like over the head, and like the grand flourish at the end where Jimmy, planks on the table because he's like just paralyzed with how amazing that was, and his brother throws his guitar up in the air in triumph, and like his mic drop moment, and just walks off stage through the double doors in the back when some doofus in the background catches it and is like, "Oh my God, I caught the Holy Grail. This is the most amazing thing." And like, pretends to like run off with it because it's this valued treasure. Oh my God.
So what this reminds me of is there's a very infamous scene in CSI, or actually I think it's NCIS, where apparently, and I don't know the show, so I can't give all the details, but apparently they're getting hacked into, and the situation becomes so dire that not only one person banging on the keyboard is enough to keep out the hackers, but they literally have two people typing away on the same keyboard, allegedly typing code or whatever they're typing.
They were sharing a keyboard?
Yes, it is by far the most ridiculous thing. I'll have to share it. It's
combined minds like in Space Track.
So it sounds like it's that level of like somebody who really has no concept of what exactly is happening.
See, who produced this?
Writing things.
It's the people that made Guitar Hero Live.
Oh, probably.
The Guitar Hero game that was made by people that have never played Guitar Hero.
To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if a guest host at some point was the fake band from Guitar Hero Live. Like, I could totally see them coming out as a fake band and, like, them playing it up like they're a real band. Like, just awful. So somebody mentioned in... because it was Stushnikin, right? Because he just got that VR, and so he's talking about his VR experience and how he's still trying to figure this thing out and getting his VR legs, and to using the two touch controllers. And he's like, it's weird because I'm not really ambidextrous, and somebody else made a comment about being ambidextrous. So I was gonna put there's a comment about using both hands. So I'm like, oh my God, there's got to be a GIF out there of something inappropriate for both hands. And so I typed in Giphy ambidextrous, and just to see what came up. And it was somebody who had, it was like a sketch pad, and they had a pencil in each hand, and they were drawing a portrait of, on the left side, Morgan Freeman, and on the right side, Tim Robbins from the movie Shawshank Redemption. But, like, it was amazing. Like, it looked like it was just outstandingly done. And, the shading and everything is perfect. I mean, yeah, it was very much dated because that movie came out in, like, the mid-'90s. But, like, it was so cool to watch these two hands operate independently and make this beautiful picture. And I'm thinking, like, how could you even fathom sharing a keyboard with somebody? Like, even like that just blows my mind how that would even.
You have to watch the clip. It is legendary. It is pretty. It's pretty
like one
amazing.
thing, like the movie Hackers, where like the whole thing was just abhorrent and silly. But like my guess is NCIS wasn't pretending to be silly. Like they were trying to be serious.
Oh no, it was like total quick cuts, super dramatic music. Like, oh man, they're coming in, and then of course, right? Like, so all this serious stuff is happening, and they're like, I need your help, and so he jumps on the keyboard, and they're all typing it, and then the other guy goes over and just unplugs the computer.
That's funny. Like, that solves everything.
It's just.
Yeah, you gotta keep them out. Keep them out of the internet. Unplug it.
Unplug the internet. That'll solve the problem.
Oh my God,
it's an amazing clip.
We're like, how far are we into the show, and we have yet to talk about video games?
Whatever.
20 minutes. 20 minutes.
We should get back on track here. Why don't we start? Because Randy, you did mention before show, and you're trying to hide your excitement. But let's hear this win of the week, buddy. Come on, give me some energy. You got this.
I don't have any energy. So
because you spent it all on your win of the week.
I guess. So before the show, I was playing Killer Instinct, which I'm kind of a little upset about, but we'll get to that in Knobs and Discos. Hint there. You got to listen to the end of the show to get that. And so I'm down to my last few achievements in Shadow Lords because I've been really trying to finish Shadow Lords the last few weeks. So I'm done almost everything except for beating Gargos on Godlike. And a few weeks ago I was saying he's impossible and he cheats. And it's stupid and ridiculous.
Yep.
And Now, that was when I was playing on medium. Now, godlike is a whole nother level of cheating. It's ridiculous. Like, I thought it was ridiculous.
Capcom experience from last week. Just dumb.
It was absurd. Like, absurd levels of cheating. So the only way to win is to figure out combos that the computer cannot comprehend, which there are a few, and it's amazing. So, like, you can just spam these combos and they never know how to deal with it, or like very rarely can deal with it. So yeah. I was playing through, kind of grinding some stuff out, and I'm, playing with the spammy characters to figure out these combos. So I got it down. So I do, and like, okay, now I'm done everything. I'm going to go on my godlike round. I'm going to try it again. So I start godlike, get my spam team together, and I take out all the omens. Everything's good. It's lining up just right. Got my team at full health, rolls around. And then the last power that you can't get rid of, and it's regenerating health. The worst one, the one where you basically throw away your run, because in a lot of situations you can't even do damage fast enough to even take damage away, because he heals so fast and takes so little damage that, like, you just can't really ever land damage. So I'm like, I was just going to quit and start over, but I was like, whatever. I already spent 45 minutes to get here. I might as well just try it for practice. So I put together my team. I'm like, I'm not going to use my best items because they're single use. So I put on just some ones I have a bunch of, just, enough to survive, basically, just to stand a chance. And so I start fighting, and I'm like, oh, okay. I got a full bar of health in my first guy. Okay, I got 2 more. Got more than a second bar of health in my second guy. That's going pretty good. And I'm like, man, I could do this. And then I get down to my last guy. I got Rash. And I'm going. And it's intense. I'm in the danger zone. Like, I think it said I finished with 7% health. And I've got Gargos in a combo on his last. I think he had 4 bars of health on this run. And I've got him on his last bar. He's in danger, and I hit the wrong. I do a quarter circle, but I do the wrong. I don't do the ultra. I just do the finisher. I'm like, no. And so then, of course, being super spammy, I got him immediately into a combo again, and then did the ultra. Oh, it was so intense. My heart was beating like crazy. That's why I play that game. That is what makes that game great, is fights like that. Still a huge cheater, totally designed for microtransactions, but it was intense.
That's annoying.
I don't know, like, that was crazy. I didn't think I was going to even have a chance that run, but got lucky, I guess. It would have been super easy. I might have been able to do it with one or 2 guys if he didn't have regenerating health. So that's my win of the week.
Oh, that's
I also
awesome.
got a new chair. I'm pretty excited about that for my studio. It's a tall chair, so I don't have to, like, reach up above my shoulders to use my keyboard and mouse anymore. So that's kind of cool.
Oh, God. I was confused what you meant by a tall chair, but you just have your desk high.
Well, sort of, because, like, this desk is built into this room because it was a dark room, so I can't move it. It's just like a workbench more than a desk. But it's tall because you're supposed to be, like, standing when you're here instead of sitting in an office chair. So I had a normal office chair and this, like, standing desk. So I went to Staples and only had, like, 2 of them, like 2 different choices of these extra tall. They call it a stool, but it's really like a tall office chair because it's got wheels and stuff.
That sounds dangerous with how tall it is on wheels.
It's not that tall. No, it doesn't move around. I mean, it's only maybe a foot taller than an office chair.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's not much.
Wonderful. Proulx, what's your win of the week?
So, I'm not going to get too crazy into this because I've talked a bit about this before, but a good chunk of us finished out Halo 3. So I was talking last week or the week before about Annual, which was the one thing I was nervous about doing. It was the last achievement that I had to get. And a lot of people who have already gotten it were warning me, like, it's tricky, it's tough, and be aware it's going to take you a few hours. So all day that day when I was at work, well, not all day because I was at work and I was doing stuff, but whenever I had the chance, I was watching people play through it, getting my whole strategy set up. So like, I want to get this done. And so we get in. We have this group. Randy was the one I think who first told me about these grenade jumps that can definitely significantly shorten your run, and they did. They were amazing. And we were done. So I think most people were like hour and a half, 2 hours, and we took a 5-minute break, maybe 10. And we were done within 45 minutes.
I was there for that. I showed up in the party to hear you guys like fist bump each other digitally. It was awesome.
It was amazing. And
did you steal the Super Spartan laser from Jonathan?
No. What? So, because watching these videos, I learned of these different strategies. I gave him the rocket launcher. I mean, I guess I did technically take it from him, but I didn't use it or anything. If whatever item that you give Johnson, he gets infinite ammo. Yeah. So that entire top of that thing was nothing. We just sat there. That's why I was like, okay, everybody take a break. Johnson's going to kill everybody in 5 minutes, and then we're done.
And he can't die.
And and he can't die. So it was amazing. No, it was awesome, and it was super satisfying. The game literally is 10 years old, almost exactly. About a month away from 10 years old.
Like I told you.
I didn't save it. I didn't want to. I wanted to move on to Reach, which is what we're doing next week. So, well, actually, the day before you hear this.
It'll be more than one week, though, right?
Yeah. Oh, no, totally. Yeah. It's, there's
Reach,
still plenty of room. People keep joining
Reach
up.
Reach is a real pain to boost these days.
We just, so was it, Mike92? He's a UK listener of ours. So he is very interested in doing some Reach action, but the time for him doesn't work out. It's like 3 a.m. in the UK. And so if any of our UK or Australian listeners, you can, looking for some time to set up, he said, 8 p.m., 11 p.m. his time, which I think is 9 a.m., 11 a.m., in Australia, so I don't know if early morning works for people, but anyway, jump into the Halo Discord chat on my server at discord.me/Freamhole and try and set that up if you guys are interested in some UK Australian sessions, that there's people interested there, or, even if for whatever reason us USers aren't doing anything at like 3 p.m, that would work too. But just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also have kind of a half win as well. So this is 1.5 wins. Proulx went out and bought a brand new giant TV this past weekend. And so when I am often playing on my 360, I get to plug in my one to his TV and play Clicker Heroes
on his giant TV.
You get a giant new TV and you play Money Clicker on it.
Did he?
It's a phone
do something?
Game.
Like what? Why did he buy a TV? Did he hurt your feelings? Did you guys have a fight? Oh, no. He's not trying to make amends for anything?
I'm actually going to be getting a new TV here pretty soon before the Xbox One X comes out. I think he just wanted to be ahead of the curve, but it's he's never.
I've been kind of keeping an eye on TVs too. Like, it's one of those things where it's like I don't know how much I want to spend. Like, if I spend like $300 on a 4K TV, it's like, am I getting just a piece of garbage? Like, and I'm going to be pissed about it, or is it like you go for that $800 to $1,000 and get your HDR and get your awesome refresh rate and all that? So like, I don't know. But my wife is like gearing up to go take a trip with all her girlfriends for her 40th birthday, and I'm like, go nuts, yeah, whatever, have some fun, spend that money, live it up. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, like, Daddy's getting a new TV. You do your thing, I'll do my thing, because my birthday this year is literally on Super Bowl Sunday, so it's like, and that's prime time for TV deals. So it's like, hey, if I don't get something by Christmas, maybe Super Bowl time, it's time to get that HDR 4K high dynamic, or the high refresh rate video game TV. Now we're talking.
Don't necessarily want the really high refresh rate, because once you get like more than 120, it starts to look weird. Even 120 can look weird depending on what it is. You get that soap opera effect.
Yeah, no, I get that. I watched a DVD, or I guess it was a Blu-ray, of Super Troopers that had the high refresh. I think it was like, whatever the frames per second is for that. And I was like, it's like I'm there with you filming. Like, it was really strange.
Well,
but
the problem
my
usually
TV now,
comes
there's just so much blur.
Not from the the number of frames, but the number of made up frames. So like if you're watching cable that's like 28 frames a second or something, and your TV is 240, 9 out of 10 of those frames are made up by the TV.
I think it's 24, but I could be wrong.
24, yeah, it's something like that. But I mean, either way, 24. Like it's like 1 out of 10 frames is not real because the TV makes it up based on like like whatever it does. I don't know how it works. But
isn't that why TVs have like game mode?
Yeah,
like,
you can usually
inputs?
Turn it down, but if you're if you're buying the high refresh rate and you just have to turn it down all the time, there's no real point in spending extra money for it. Would
be the idea. The input A with my HDMI.
I don't think you can set it per input. It's just like on the TV. It has like in the options you can like turn it.
I'm only half in the market for a TV, so like I don't even know what
it's been a long time. I mean, I used to sell TVs when I worked at Sears, but it's been a long time since I've looked at TVs at all. So everything may have changed between now and then, but that was the case.
You're probably selling tube TVs back then.
Tube TVs. That wasn't that long ago.
700-pound tube TVs.
They still had plasma TVs. Actually, the nicest TV they had there, nobody ever bought it. It was amazing. It was like, the price is great. If I wasn't moving, I would have bought it. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And it was like half the price of an LCD. Gorgeous TV. It's too bad those disappeared.
Absolutely. Hey, so my win of the week, I'm going to pick... so I got a decent amount of stuff done on Random To-Do List, and I had been kind of gearing up just everything in correlation with the Leapfrog, because I've been trying to stay alive in the Leapfrog. And so one of those nights, it was to tackle a to-do list item for Super Time Force. And I needed to beat the final boss in that. Now, I had done all the other levels, and so I was on the boss level, and I just needed to complete the 3 stages and fight that dude. That was awesome. Like, I know so many people crap on this game, but I really like this game and the mechanics. It's a little weird to get your head wrapped around it because of the rewinding and just setting things up so you're, like, just pumping bullets constantly. But, like... Also, you get to the very end boss, and you're just wrecking house with as much that's going on. I mean, it becomes essentially a bullet hell. Now, thankfully, most of the bullets are yours, but still, like... because you kill stuff so much faster, then the one guy who was shooting at the dude's head now is shooting off into nowhere because, that was a phase ago and you've already moved on to phase 2 and he's still in phase 1. But, like, it's super cool. And it's a nice, huge, well, it's not even that huge. It's a decent ratio. Got me survived into, I think, what was that, Tuesday night, right before the turnover to do two achievements per week. So that kept me alive at the very last of the single digits. So that was awesome. Randy, what else you been playing this week? Anything worth noting?
Just Killer Instinct. I've still hardly been playing anything. I'm still dealing with the move-in, etc. So I'm getting a little more. We're just about set up and unpacked. But yeah, just Killer Instinct. I've got some plans for this weekend. I'm going to play German version Saints Row 2, probably Gears of War 2, and lots more Killer Instinct. Now that Shadow Lords is basically done, I can move on to all the easy stuff. I'm trying to get as many achievements in that game as I can because I just want it to look tidy. Because I think I've still got like 180 achievements out of 500 or something left, and it's so hard to look at that list. Because there's just so many achievements on it. But there's still, like, tons of achievements that are, like, 5-minute achievements that I should really just do and get them done.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Nice. What about you, Proulx? What have you been up to?
I've been up to a lot of things. So, like you mentioned, it's Leapfrog. So I got a bunch of just random stuff that I've been going through just to get the ratio achievements. I won't go too far into it, but stuff like... DJ Hero 2 and Rock Band 3 and Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Just
peripherals are key in that game, or in this contest. Anything that involves a peripheral is typically very high TA.
Yeah, and I don't think I've really hit the bulk of, like, the Minecraft stuff that I'm sure I could do, or the Killer Instinct stuff that I could do as well. We haven't hit that point yet, but I don't expect to get too much farther in it. And then, of course, the stuff that I've been just playing all along, like I mentioned, Halo 3, Clicker Heroes, and Rocket League, I play as often as possible. Killer Instinct, Randy and I boosted a little bit last weekend. Titanfall, of course, we're heading towards the end, and it is in sight, and it is wonderful.
August 31st.
Yeah, so...
Last one.
I'm going to miss next week's boosting session. I think I'm going to be able to compensate for it, and I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, but it's unfortunate.
We had joked that you and I would be boosting wins while we record this show. If I had my Xbox One downstairs where I'm recording, I totally would do that
would
right
have been
now.
Awesome. Yeah,
Time for a second Xbox One.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
The S's are so
and they're so nice. They're so nice.
They are nice, yeah. And then, you know what? Fream, we talked about this a long time ago. I put in Halo Reach and played some levels on Legendary. I'm working on the single player stuff to get prepared for the multiplayer stuff. And I got the jump off the cliff and kill the guy achievement that we both didn't have, and we kind of...
So you glitched it?
Informally...
So you cheated then. Did you use the Game Genie?
Yes, I did. I, in fact, used my Game Genie.
Yeah, well, you're a dirty cheater.
I put the code in.
So that achievement is not possible. Everyone who did it glitched into it, I guarantee.
It took me, I would say, roughly 20 tries before I got it. And, Freem, you can do it.
Yeah, 20 tries is like a warm-up for me. Like, I'm just getting into it by 20.
I'm telling you, you got to do it. You can do it. It's not that bad. Watch the YouTube videos, look exactly what they do. There was some comments that I listened to, you know, that says that you have to be sprinting when you jump off the cliff, but then immediately hit the button to stop sprinting.
Yeah, because you can't assassinate while you're sprinting. Did that. And the timing, like, you want to make sure you got to still be in the air, but you got to be low enough to get him. Make sure you're coming from behind. Make sure it's like I'm on it. I'm on it, Proulx. I get it. It doesn't work. Doesn't work. And the multiple times that I've assassinated the guy in midair, mind you, it's like, no, you're on the ground. You're on the guy or whatever. Like, man, screw you.
Well, I'm just letting you know. Less than an hour and it was done. So
when you're on your Mick road trip, or when you can come on over to Corn Country, why don't you stop by and do it for me?
It's only like an hour away, right?
But
it's like,
it's
like right there. You know,
Minnesota's
right next to New York.
If are you driving? Are you driving to the Cornlands?
I'm flying there, but then driving home. So I will actually be fairly close.
Oh my God, you're like, it'd be like a 4-hour detour to come to my house.
What are you talking about? It's not that far.
I don't know.
It's like an hour. You can drive across the country in like 4 hours.
So it wouldn't even actually be that different, because like we've got some pretty standard highways that'll come right through Minneapolis from there. So
yeah. Okay. So other than no, sorry, it's going to be a close weekend. A lot of driving already, so I don't think I'm going to add any time to that. Unless you want to meet up in Chicago or something, but I doubt it. Okay, anyways. So,
Desmones.
Yeah. Nice. So other than that, there was one other thing I wanted to... I've been playing... So I've been working on my random to-do list as well, because Tarragon beat me last month, even though I beat you. We both beat you. But we're a little bit closer this month, and Tarragon's ahead of both of us now. But I'm hoping that maybe I can pull something out here. And I'm stuck on one of my earlier ratio. It's like a 2 point something, and it's for Batman Arkham City, but it's like the last Riddler challenge. So you have to have 400 Riddler collectibles done. And I actually just got all the collectibles I need for that mission right before we recorded. So I've been working a lot in that game, and I'll get that done tomorrow for sure. And then just some Walking Dead stuff. I finished Michonne, and I've worked my way to the New Frontier. And that's it. That's what I've been working on.
Nice. I've been doing my normal sessions of Zombie Army Trilogy and Diablo. We actually killed Diablo, so now I'm just farming gold. We're doing those, like hunt for the keys to make that, what are those, Hellfire rings? That's what we're doing right now, just trying to get gold. But... and then Zombie Armor Trilogy, almost done with that. Turned out I did a lot of boss fights this week, in Super Time Force and what the hell else did I do that was a boss? Anyway, so here's a weird thing. I was been just messing around in. I've been trying to get back on track with Age of Empires. Just trying to get those 2,000 whatevers, the crowns or whatever. And obviously people are attacking me every now and again, and I have a decent setup, so I can repel pretty much anyone who's lower than me. And I finally hit my 10th defensive win. So I got that achievement, but it also popped an achievement for unlocking the catapult, which you can only do with an age 5 keep, which I don't have. And so I glitched into an achievement somehow with this double pop action. It somehow thinks I have the ability to make catapults. I do not. But that was a fun little surprise, and actually I think that both of those let me survive a day in Leapfrog. So I was able to coast a little bit easier on that one. Anyway, so that was fun. And then was it Monday? Yes, it was Monday night, because it was the 7th, August 7th, when
right.
You guys were doing your thing. I didn't have anything going on that night, and so I thought, you know what? I saw you guys playing some Halo. I was just gonna fire up something random myself, play a little Super Time Force that night, and I was like, you guys sound like you're having a lot of fun. Why don't I get in on that? And so I jumped into your little Halo action, having not played any Halo 3 multiplayer, and trying to get the Vidmaster. Because, of course, this month, the Vidmaster also applies for the MOCAS, the Going Digital, because it has 2 digits in it, 7 on 7. So you get 2 entries for unlocking that one. Well, it's too late now, but I get to count that one. Well, so because we're just trying to get enough XP, 7 XP, you had to win. And so, of course, I need to get some kills and things. And, man, these guys, the whole crew, everyone who's involved, set me up to get a ton of Halo 3 multiplayer achievements. I think I ended up with 11.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that many.
Because I literally did nothing. And I will say we all had a lot of fun when I was trying to figure out how to run over people with the mongoose.
Yes.
That was a disaster. I could not. I mean, like, literally, we'd set everybody up like a series of bowling pins. Like, they literally were not moving, and I would just careen off them like I was throwing a 3-ounce ball instead of a bowling ball, and I just kind of and roll off the side. Like, it was a goat rodeo trying to get enough kills with that stupid mongoose. And then, and they're just doing the generic boosting for that. But, man, that was great. You no longer have to do the Korean trick because the servers are so dead, which is great.
No. Yep. Especially like we were working in social games. So once you have enough people, it just starts and you're good to go. Yeah. So it was super smooth.
Yep, it was real nice. That went really well. Got a ton of stuff done on all the one of the reasons I never did any of the multiplayer stuff is because I didn't have any of the DLC packs, because I didn't like Halo 3 multiplayer. I never got into it. And so I was like, I'm not spending money on maps. That's not. But now that they're all free, it was like, hey, look at all these achievements that are open up to me. So that was great. I've been playing a bunch of Rocket League. I end up using Rocket League for the Gamertag Challenge, ZZ Urban Spaceman, right? There's that R in there. And they have some high ratios with the new DLCs that just came out. So I was like, you know what? It's been a while. Why don't I get in on that? And also because there are rumors of the X1 Bros having a Rocket League tournament. And so, I'm kind of thinking that Proulx and I need to, get a little bit of practice so that...
what about me? My signature move.
Yeah.
You haven't seen my signature move.
I mean, Fream, I'm very glad you're playing the game. Let's just not throw me right into the same category, though. I mean, I play the game quite frequently.
Signature move.
I practice quite a bit.
Well, I know you do. That's what I'm saying. I need to catch up. and if it's a 2-on-2 and we're doing hosts, I feel like I need to get a little bit better to help support you. Now if it's anybody, if it's more, sorry, Randy, but Stushnikin or Benji, they are going to be honorary hosts because
you haven't even played Rocket League with me. You don't know how good I am at Rocket League. I mean, Proulx can signature move.
Well, I'm not even as good as Stushnikin.
Here's the thing, Randy. I know you don't play Rocket League because the game is fun. You don't play games that are fun.
I enjoy playing Rocket League. Yeah. Now,
everybody enjoys playing Rocket
League. The real question is who's better, me or Fream?
I don't know because I haven't really played with Fream enough to
we should take a mid-show
play Rocket League.
Play a couple matches of Rocket League. And then,
so this show is never coming out. We're about to go play Rocket League.
Z is over. We just play Rocket League now.
So anyway, I got a bunch of achievements in Rocket League, just messing around. Of course, I set some of them up just to get them out of the way. But then I haven't done any of the placement matches yet. So I decided, you know what? Let's just give it a whirl and start playing some competitive matches. And played some after Titanfall last night with Stushnikin and Beast Middle. Had a lot of fun with those guys. It's great when you've got 2 or 3 people who understand the mechanics of the flow of the game. Where you're kind of with randoms, you're just trying to do your best to hold on, but like. It's kind of that unspoken thing of like, geez, nobody's at defense. Maybe I should kind of pull back a little bit. And like watching those guys play versus the way I play, I'm terrible at defense, like just atrocious. I feel like it's like, I'll be back, and that's my goal is to play good defense, but I am terrible at hitting that ball. So like I'm probably more of a liability than anything. But that game is just great. That game is just fantastic. And I only have a few achievements left to complete that. I've kind of just left it open, right? I think I haven't really done the shots on goal one just because I get that over time. Like collecting 200 items, I'm at like 180. Shots on goal, I think I'm at like 400 or something. So it's like if I really just pushed for it, I could finish it off. But like,
it's a great achievement game because you never have to go crazy out of your way to do.
They just trickle in.
Yeah, that's great.
And I also unlocked my 10th silver challenge badge. So I got in Microsoft Solitaire. So I got that achievement for doing 10 months of silver. Now here's what really chaps my hide. So if you recall, I mentioned early in the year that for some reason I missed a bronze. That I don't know why. Like it didn't count one of my bronze months, and so at the time I was 1 month behind, so I'd have to do an extra one. And so I finally got this one here for 10 silver badges. I'm only at 8 bronze badges somehow.
What?
How is that even possible? Like,
that's crazy.
I'm so frustrated.
Now,
are
they showing in the game on the medal screen, or is it just not showing on the tracker?
It's not showing on the tracker. The tracker's showing that I have 8 of 12 bronze medals.
You might still get it because, like, if you look at the months where they have the medals lined up, do you see the bronze medals?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the tracker just might be weird.
Okay.
So
in 2 months,
don't panic yet until.
Yeah. So 2 months from now should be the actual time I should unlock it because I started in November, so October.
Yeah, I mean, if you
be...
just got 10 silvers, then
yeah, 2
months from now.
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait for that game to be done.
Right?
It's amazing.
Oh, man.
Let me tell you, it's an amazing experience.
I can't even finish it because I can't download the Windows 10 version on my crappy computer, and so I don't have Star Challenges yet.
I was going to say you can download the Windows 8 version, but no, you can only port it in once.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to have to go borrow a Windows 10 computer.
Like, are they going to ever do the Star Challenges on Android, do you think?
It does say coming soon, but it's said that ever since they released it, so I'm not sure.
Coming soon, since November. So, you know, we'll see. Maybe. The final thing I want to mention that I played this week was I busted out the Kinect on the Xbox One and played some Disney Fantasia. I had 2...
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, I had 2 achievements in Disney Fantasia on my random to-do list. And they both happened to be in the world The Plant. So the plant is when you in the game as part of the story. There's like 5 story levels to get the composition spells. If you beat one of those, it unlocks the plant, which is like the souped up version of that next world. And so I was worried I'd have to play through the whole story and then move on to that. Turns out you don't. I just played the press, finished that, and that opened up the plant, and so I could go right into that one. Now, granted, I didn't have all the composition spells, so I couldn't get like crazy high points, but that didn't matter. I was just, finishing up these things. I doubt I'll be able to do the perfect runs on all those. That seems pretty daunting, despite how impressive the tracking is on that. Like, they do a really nice job with Connect 2.0 on Disney Fantasia. It really tracks quite well.
Even Connect 1.0 tracks extremely well too, but the software was all so poorly done. Aside from a few games, like, the Gunstringer works very well, Connect Adventures works very well, and that's about the extent of games that worked very well. So those games, tracking works fantastic because the hardware itself is actually quite good. It's just nobody bothered to develop anything of any kind of quality for it.
Yeah. So I was surprised how, into it I got. I was, a little Missy Elliott, get your freak on. I mean, I was getting my freak on, let me tell you, man. I was grooving. I was feeling it. They did the Gorillaz Feel Good Inc. in there. I love that song. That's a nice tune, and just mixing it, you feel so empowered, making these compositions that it's literally just flailing your arms around, trying to just match kind of patterns on the screen. But you feel like you're actually conducting this orchestra, and playing these popular songs. And yeah, I was really getting into it. Now that being said, I played it for an hour and a half after instructing Arms Day at the gym. And so let's just say my shoulders were not happy the next morning when I woke up. I could barely lift my arms because of all the flailing around I was doing, but totally worth it. I got 2 random to-do list achievements out of that. And that's about it for what I've been doing. So are we going to go play Rocket League now, or should we just keep on going?
Yeah, we'll go play Rocket League.
Yeah, Rocket League, I think, probably, yeah.
All right, let's move into some topics and news. Turns out we didn't go play Rocket League. We should have, but...
Yes, we should have.
Well, I mean, if you're hearing the show, we obviously didn't.
Yeah, it's true. We never would have come back. We never would have come back.
That was just going to be it. I swear, Proulx, you and I are going to play after the show, though. It's not going to be that late. No, it will be that late. We have a lot to talk about, news and comments and otherwise. So let's move right into it. Randy, I'm going to kick it to you first. Give us the top headline.
Crystal Pepsi's back.
What? No.
Yay!
It is as of Monday. So when this show releases, it will have been out again for 2 days. It's coming back allegedly for the last time, but I honestly don't believe anything Pepsi has to say anymore. So who knows? But it might be the last time for a while. So get your Crystal Pepsi while you can. It'll probably be sold out everywhere like it always is. So gotta rain on that good news a little bit.
There you go. Go. What else?
There's some sad news. Some sad Big Rigs news.
Oh no.
I got an email from ID at Xbox, and it's not looking good for Big Rigs.
So what did the email actually say? Can you
let me
talk about it? Or
let me see if it. I think I probably can.
You didn't sign any NDA or anything, right?
I did sign an NDA, but not for this. I don't think. I don't see why I can't read this out. So, and I don't think they're not listening to the podcast anyway. So who cares? They rejected Big Rigs. I don't care. It says, "Hi Randy, thank you for submitting Big Rigs Truckin', a cinematic racing adventure to ID at Xbox. At this time, the concept approval team does not feel that the game is a fit for release through the ID at Xbox program. So we're unfortunately unable to approve Big Rigs Truckin', a cinematic racing adventure for release through ID at Xbox. However, don't let this stop you from continuing your development of Big Rigs Truckin', a cinematic racing adventure. We encourage you to complete the game and consider releasing it for Xbox One and Windows 10 through the Xbox Live Black Hole You Can't Find It Anywhere program."
They wrote that, huh?
They wrote that right in the email. No, through the Xbox Live Creators Program, which is obviously just a black hole where, Google Play Store where you publish things and they get one download in 10 years. So I don't think I'm going to bother with that, honestly.
But I mean,
well, because
the creators program stuff is that stuff free, or is there
it's not
ways to monetize it?
It's not.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's not free to sign up for it, but they included a key to make it free for me in the email. Since I'm probably the first person in the history of ever to be rejected from ID at Xbox. Because, I mean, let's face it, Big Rigs is probably a better game than Soda Drinker Pro in terms of quality of content. A little bit of sour grapes. So
is that the rest of the email, or do you have more?
Well, I mean, there's more. I mean, that's all. I mean, then they talk about reconsideration, which is like, obviously, like, it's basically you have to overhaul the whole game to submit it again.
Did they do like specifics?
No, that's the thing that was really
wording in there that said like when you finish it.
That's the thing that's really annoying. Is like, this is a completely generic email. Obviously they just have something that sticks whatever you put the title in because it repeats it like 4 times in a sentence.
Yeah. Exactly as written.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly as written. So this was clearly not written by a person. This was just like, you reject it. Here's the email that gets spit out to you. So yeah, it's not very useful. I mean, maybe I could email them and be like,
hey, you know what? Maybe if we get Chris Charla on the podcast, we can ask him personally if we can track him down
to approve.
We do
the
have
game.
A question. Yeah, we do have a question from JZarp43, and he says, "Do you think it's good to have the creator collection, the creators program for indie games, and if they should have achievements or not?" So the reason I put this here is because I think it's a good discussion, and ultimately, let me start by asking you this, Randy: do you think you would have received different consideration if the creators program did not exist?
I'll say that thought definitely crossed my mind. It didn't immediately, but somebody in Discord actually pointed that out to me, that I submitted it at a time right around when this happened. And like, the creators black hole came out. And it was a good point, is it's very possible that they made that black hole to put games like Big Rigs into. Because I mean,
they feel like they're taking too much time. There's too many, home developers, and so instead of putting resources to actually looking at the content, they would just slough them off into, for these people that don't know any better, slough them off into the creators program, like you said, the black hole. And if somehow you can defy the odds and beat the singularity, you might be able to get onto ID at Xbox.
And they said in the email, too, further down, that, like, after 30 days, based on your performance in the black hole, we may reconsider you, which, I mean, is obviously, like, impossible, like you said, if you somehow defy the odds of the black hole. But, I do kind of think that that's what the purpose was, is, for games like Unnamed Fiasco and Soda Drinker Pro and things like that, games that really shouldn't be on there, maybe Energy Cycle, that's what the black hole is for, is you just say, here you go.
Yeah.
But I do think they actually looked at it, just kind of based on the previous communications. I mean, they probably looked at it very briefly, but I mean, they still looked at it and rejected it.
So back to JZarp's question then. Do you think that the creators program is good? Let's start with that. Do you think that's a good program that, anybody can submit and put their game on there and it gets uploaded and people from their Xbox can, in theory, find it and download it?
I don't think it is. I mean, I think it's as good as the indie program was on the 360, which was absolutely terrible. It was total garbage, and all it's doing is, there's just not enough games that are like you can reject some games and they don't get published at all, and that's fine. But I think the reality is it's just trying to weed out ID at Xbox, and it's been going on as it is for so long that, and it's not even bad. Like, I mean, there's I can't believe I'm saying this, but like the the sky is falling people. They're like, Gamerscore is worthless. This. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, like anything, when you have more choices, it gets easier to get over time. But the reality is, like, there was, a year or two where there was a whole slew of stuff that was super easy, and then now it's kind of slowed down. So, I mean, yeah, I guess it's easier to get points now. Also, everything's worth 1,000. I mean, there were plenty of arcade games that were very quick, but were only worth 200 points. Anyway, I don't think it's a big deal that you get more games with achievements. It also gets those games more exposure. But when you just kind of like shoo them off the black hole because we can't be bothered to look at it or deal with you or whatever. I mean, and I'm not even just saying in my case. I mean, obviously my game's a total joke, but I mean, I'm sure there are more games that have some audience, and like that has some kind of audience that are just going to get shooed to the black hole, and then now we're kind of back to where we were pre-ID at Xbox. I mean, obviously it's easier. It's easier
it's the same
It's easier
thing.
for bigger indie developers, and I mean, bigger as in like, have some kind of budget or like, educated in programming team. But
right.
I mean, at the same time, that makes it that
or had success on Steam.
That
or
makes
something.
it still makes it impossible for like a one-person team to do something like that.
Yeah,
I see this totally differently than you guys do, I guess, then, because I think this is a good thing. If you have unrestricted access, if you just let everybody do whatever they want and do their thing, then that can be problematic and chaotic. I think this is probably the best possible solution because it gives everybody access to any game that any game that would want to be on the platform, you have access to. Of course, visibility may be smaller because it's harder to get to, but say that there was a game coming out and it's not coming out, it's coming out through this other method. Well, yeah, I guess I'd have to search for it, but at least I would still have access to it instead of just being generally, rejected. Like say that you still decided to release Big Rigs, Randy. If I really wanted that game, I would still have access to it. Whereas if you're working in a simple, accept reject model, then you don't have access to it anymore if they just said no. So I don't know. It just makes sense to me for there to be another tier where it's like, okay, you're not going to get achievements, whatever. But I mean, that only matters to us, so that's not even a huge deal generally. But at least those games are still available to play on that platform. I don't see how that would be a negative thing at all.
Do you think that there's aside from the black hole, pre-black hole ID at Xbox, do you think that there's a problem with the quantity or quality of games that are released generally on a regular basis?
I would say that. Do I think
problem
there's a problem
with both quality and or quantity?
I would say that the number of games seems to be on the excessive side. But basically, I guess what I would say is the problem is if you're going to have an all or nothing strategy, I think that could become problematic, especially over time. So if they're just accepting everybody for forever, then you're going to at some point dilute it so much to the point where the whole store, the whole ecosystem becomes meaningless at that point. So yeah, even achievements would become.
I guess the way I'm looking at it is, I just don't. I think what's happening is because when you get accepted to ID at Xbox, you also get a bunch of now, and I don't know if this is the same once I put in this code and get access to this other thing, but you actually get support from Microsoft and like other developers with how to integrate Xbox things into your game and like program into those games to work properly on Xbox, where I don't think you're going to get that now. So when I think the benefit of the ID program was you get a little bit of help. Like once you get accepted in, and I don't know, maybe not everyone does get accepted. Seemed like they did, but who knows? I mean, you still have to go to a fair bit of effort too to even get to that point. Like, I just don't, it's not like the Google Play Store where you just pay $50 and you're just there. Like, you can just publish whatever. without any kind of consistency. Like, at least with the publishing it on Xbox, you had to do the work to make it work properly on an Xbox, and Microsoft would kind of give you a little bit of help along the way to get it there. But then now it's like, I just feel like what it's doing is it's eliminating the really small teams or single people. I just think I mean, and not saying that there's really that much of really high quality that comes from those people, but I mean, look at something like Vaccine. I really wanted to like that game, and it was a bad game, but it was really impressive that one person did that. And yeah, I don't know.
But that game would, I mean, I presume, I assume that under your model, the best model that you can come up with, that game would still have been accepted, right? So yeah, I that's what I'm saying. Like, it is a level of quality control. You have two options here, where you have a completely open market, or you have somewhat, or you in some way are able to restrict it or tailor it. And I think this is the best of both worlds in the fact that it gives you access to everything, but restricts it in some meaningful ways for people who don't necessarily know any better.
I think the way I look at it is like a hell server in a competitive multiplayer game, where it is like, look, you have done something, you've presented something that we don't really care about, or you haven't reached a level that we're interested in the issue of a hell server. You've cheated or done something against the plays of the game, and you're relegated to an area with the dredges of all of the things that are released. And if you can come crawling out of that, on your own volition without our support, then we'll take another look at you. Like, that's the way I feel that the creators program is it's like, look, we don't really want to spend any time going through all of the submissions. So, like, here's an avenue for you to do your own marketing, your own stuff on the ground, if you're really serious about it, because we get so many people who just don't give a crap. If you're really serious about it and you do all the work and promote yourself and get a bunch of downloads, then we can maybe throw an intern or two at your game to take a look at it. Like, that type of, and look, that's a very dismissive approach to how I believe they do it. But, like, what I think they need is, like, a tiered system of, not necessarily the creators program, or even if you have the creators program, that's fine. Have that as an opt-in. But if you make a submission to ID at Xbox, I feel like based on your pedigree, or based on, at least have a couple of interns look at it, play the game a little bit, and say, okay, is this worth our time to take a look at? Is there something here? And then you can put more resources and have like an A tier and a B tier and a C tier, and that delegates how much time Xbox can put toward these titles. I was just watching TA's stream this week of Conga Master. Did you guys see this at all?
I saw the achievement list, and then I kind of looked at it, and it looks really dumb.
It's dumb as hell, but it looks like so much fun. The premise of the game, it's a pixelated sprite-based game where this dude comes into this dance club and he's got to dance, and it's essentially like Snake, where you have to go and eat the little pellets and you make yourself longer. And so your dude goes in there dancing, and he's got to dance around these people, and if you dance near them long enough, their like meter goes up, and then once it's filled, they join your conga line, and all of a sudden now you got this dance line going, and you got to weave through, and there's like banana peels that you can slip on, and the janitor's got his mop and you can slip on that, and if you bump into somebody you're dancing, it resets their like meter down to 0, and you have this momentum meter, which is essentially your life bar, that keeps depleting as you're dancing. And so you get these combos to build that up so you can stay alive longer and get this conga line as long as you can go. And then when you reach the threshold for the level, the doors open and you can go outside with your conga line and you pass the level. And then when you do pass the level, you are like on a sidewalk and you have to jump over pigs And all the while, a UFO is abducting the people in your conga line. And then whatever's left over, like they then show up with you at the next dance club. So you might get to start with 4 or 5 people if you're good at your little jumping puzzle. It's so bizarre, and it's so simple, and it's just silly. But like, that's kind of a fun gameplay loop. I mean, it's Snake, right? Like, where do you draw the line? Like, I could easily see them saying map creators program. Yeah, that's only a couple of guys. They're just having some fun with an old mechanic, and they made it silly, and that's what it is. Like, that's the creators program
that is in the ID program. You know, that game where you sit in front of a Kinect for hours.
Yeah,
that game.
Well, okay, so I mean, weren't you just suggesting the exact same kind of system, Fream? Like when you were saying A tier, B tier, C tier. I mean, what they're doing, I mean, they're being smart about it. They're crowdsourcing the labor. They're not sending an intern to do it. They're saying, hey, if you have over 1,000 downloads or something, whatever the arbitrary level is, then we'll take it seriously or whatever.
That's the same problem that Steam Greenlight had,
right?
Which obviously failed horribly and was super inconsistent and just didn't really work that well.
Well, I mean, would that be any more or less inconsistent than 3 employees at Microsoft saying, we like this game?
But it's the same 3 people every time. I mean, you know what their decision-making process is. It's not just like how many people in the Steam community liked you or downvoted you or whatever.
I just think...
Is that a better
system? It disenfranchises people to say, like, look, you know, if you were working at a larger studio or had some name pedigree behind it, yeah, you'd get in and we would easily look at your game and give it some support. But the fact that you're one dude who is passionate about this, you know, let's show me how far your passion goes because you're doing it all yourself. You know, we're not going to help you out. We're not going to give you a hand up, or give you any support until you show us, you know, how dedicated you are. And for some people, I think that disenfranchises them. You know, in some instances, that's probably a good thing. And I
can speak from my case, which may fall under the "it's a good thing" category. I'm not going to bother to put it on Xbox, because that would require me to figure out how to integrate controller support for probably 2 downloads, which is just not worth the time, because that would mean I'd have to test it. I'd have to convert one of my Xboxes to a dev kit to test it, because they won't give me a dev kit, and then just throw it in the black hole. So,
I guess I don't know. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it makes sense to me that if they're going to in any way distinguish between something that is quote unquote tier A or tier B or whatever, I would rather them give me access to the stuff that they reject on whatever terms that they pick. That way, even if I want, like, say you did decide to release it on an Xbox, Randy, then I could still play it. If it doesn't meet their criteria for whatever, I still get to play it. So it makes sense for there to be kind of a catch-all, to me, where they still get the benefit of having those games on the platform, even if they're not, you know, super supported or whatever.
I'd be more inclined to agree with you if I didn't already know that this is going to be absolutely buried. That no one will know this exists ever unless you're super into Xbox like we are.
Yeah, and that's just, you know, law of large numbers. But like, look at something like Minecraft or Super Meat Boy or something or Cuphead even. There are games with tiny development teams that do stand out, and obviously we'll have no problem getting support from Microsoft.
Well, I don't know about
again,
no problem.
Where you draw that.
I mean, back and those.
Well,
Super Meat Boy at least was back when there was like no indie support on Microsoft's side, unless you were.
Yeah, and that was a game developed by 2 people.
But I guess the question is, did it have a budget?
I guess I wouldn't know the specifics about that. But I mean, it was just 2 kids, right? I mean, just 2 guys that were. I had only seen the documentary that they did, but
yeah,
I don't know. I guess I don't see a clear path forward. And like I said, I would rather have access to as much as possible than restricted access based on, I guess, some arbitrary thing. I like the fact that there is a separate tier that I can play whatever I want. Maybe I don't get achievements for it. Maybe I guess maybe it's tougher for the developers, which is unfortunate. But I would rather have that than just a simple yes/no system where, like, say they said no to you, Randy, and you would have no path forward at that point. Are you suggesting that so either they accept everything and don't reject anything, or there is some sort of line there? I mean, which system would you prefer?
I don't know.
I guess
it
depends.
Deserves more than a form email.
I guess it depends. Wait, what do you mean? It deserves more than my generic rejection letter?
Yeah, like it would be nice to get some understanding. Like, you think that they played the game. I don't get that.
No, I don't think they played it. I think they looked at it. I don't know if they played it. I mean, maybe they did. But I guess what it comes down to too is, like, I kind of felt the same way about, a lot of job applications now, and that it's very, very, I won't say it is, but it very much appears to be designed to be as impersonal as possible, and just a complete inconsiderate waste of time for the applicant in almost every job application that I did when I was looking for a job, where I would spend, minimum 1 hour per application. Then if I went for an interview, minimum 1 hour, sometimes more. I had a situation where I spent 3 hours interviewing in a company, and they couldn't bother to respond to my email when I emailed them back. So I spent 3 hours of my time interviewing at your company, and you can't take 30 seconds to respond to my email. Like, it's kind of the same thing here, where I'm a little annoyed that I got a generic email back when I did spend time making a demo specifically for this application. I filled out the form, I signed the thing, the NDA, all this stuff. It's like, you could at least give me something to build with. But
right.
I guess what it really comes down to ultimately is I'm okay with this system, assuming it's not making the ID program harder to get into. Is if you kind of raise your minimum entry bar, because we don't know if everything was accepted ever, and it seemed like it was, but who knows? And I'm sure not everything was, but everything that was, like, complete enough of a concept would have been accepted. So if they're raising that bar and raising the black hole, I could see that happening if kind of tons and tons of really low quality junk games were just surfacing. But I don't really, yes, like mine. Hey, I'm not saying I should have been accepted in either case. Let's leave it at that. This is just in general, but I really don't think ID is getting worse. Like, if anything, it seems like the games are kind of slowing down. So I just don't really see why do this now when it's not really a problem, at least to me.
Yeah. As far as the achievement side of it goes, absolutely no.
Oh, definitely not. No way.
That's as much as I would love that. Like, it's the games in the creators program have so many issues already that putting any sort of gamer score to them or anything.
Well, not to mention,
maybe
you could
do like the 200 points or something.
No,
like
because you would have 5-star top rated 1,000 best movies or whatever, like 100 million times for achievements.
Yeah, that's true.
Or like the 30 days of Noseball, just for the achievements.
What if you did? What if it was like a separate score system? Like, it wasn't Gamerscore, but it was like
a black hole score.
Please no.
Singularity score.
Please no.
You play indie games and
don't
you get,
do that.
That actually might do it.
No.
You could get a separate indie score so that you could just at least peruse that indie program.
And you could spend your indie points on upvoting indie games.
Well, yeah, you could get indie avatar items.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I
this is a
think they
terrible
should
idea.
stay in the black hole. I just don't think the black hole should exist. I don't know. The way the black hole was handled in the 360 was so bad that I just don't. I didn't
even know it existed.
Exactly.
That's how wonderful.
And nobody is going to know this
I
exists.
spent money there.
That's the thing. Is like
I don't even know how to get there.
It exists, but there's no point in it existing, basically. Aside from, like the one game that crawls out of the depths somehow.
Well, that it is not to say that there wouldn't be things that would be buried there. Certainly there would, but I mean, at that point, it's kind of a meritocracy where the good stuff will come out.
I don't
do you
believe
know
in
where the creators
meritocracies.
program titles are?
I have no idea.
Oh no, I have no idea. I assume if you search for one specifically, it would come up.
That's my biggest issue. My biggest issue is that
did they?
You can't find this stuff.
Oh no, they did.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard enough to find the ID stuff.
The only way I found two of the things is because they showed up on store parts or something as free. Or there's a tweet that said, hey, there's these new free games out there. And I'm like, oh, quick, I better download those. And I was like, oh, wait, there's no Gamerscore to it. Wait, why are they free? Oh, Creators Program.
Black Hole Games.
Okay. Yeah. That was the only way I found two titles and that are on, I obviously won't play them, but, it's... Is there even a landing page on the? That'll lead into our next comic because
I don't know
because Xbox came out with a new update. The insider started getting it.
It's so bad. How do they do
you
that?
Get to customize your homepage. It gets to be customized.
It's so ugly. How do they keep making the dashboard worse? It's amazing. Just when I think I can't hate it more, this comes along.
I don't.
You
think
could
it's
always get. You used to be
different.
able to customize your homepage on the first one.
Well, you mean just adding pins?
Yeah. Now pins have disappeared. They're all hidden at the bottom and useless. Now they brought them back. Apparently.
I mean, they're really pumping up the community part of it. Like they're adding a lot more from the club standpoint, and the arena, all that kind of nonsense. But so ultimately, where I want to go for this is. The update came out, and Randall Thor and Jez Corden have their little Xbox 2 show. And so they were talking about the update, and Mike Ybarra decided to hijack the stream, and he came in and kind of had an impromptu interview with those guys, and made a couple of comments that went nuts on Twitter. Because obviously the head engineer over at Xbox, he might know a thing or two about what's going on with the system.
He wouldn't know.
And his quote here was because they're talking about achievements. Obviously, Randall Thor 19 is a big achievement guy, and so his comment. Here's his quote. Those are some small things we can do to the system, and the team looks at them. They're in our backlog. He's talking about achievements. They're in our backlog of things we want to get done, but there's actually bigger, more bolder changes that we have in mind. Nothing I can talk about right now, but something that fundamentally changes the concept. We're working towards a bigger, more meaningful change about somebody's gaming accomplishments in history as a gamer. And he goes on to say, we can do more to reflect and let people show their gaming history and their status. Whether it's somebody who only plays multiplayer in Halo 5 at a professional level, maybe they only have 2,000 Gamerscore. You want to still celebrate that as a person. You want people to be in the know. This person doesn't play a lot of games, but they're in the world top 10 at Halo 5. All the way that people with I don't know what the quote is. It's taken out of context, but it says with 1 million Gamerscore. That's maybe he's talking about Rand. There's all the way to people like Rand, who's got over 1 million Gamerscore. It's in that range that we really need to look at and celebrate. We're going to go big in the area of letting people show off and represent their gaming history and the type of gamer that they are, far more than we do with Gamerscore. So Skeptical Mario asks us to react to that. He says, look, it's obviously too soon to speculate intelligently about what this might entail, so I think you should put in about 30 seconds of paranoid the sky is falling ranting.
The sky is falling. This is terrible.
They're getting rid of the numbers.
Oh, I hope not.
That's it. If we're going to do Sky is Falling, that's exactly what he's talking about right there.
There's no
more number. There's no more Gamerscore. It's going to be some sort of simplified tier system where, based on the time you play and maybe the achievements you get,
they're going to make it like Call of Duty it, where it's just like a stupid progression system, regardless of what you're.
So if we're doing Sky is Falling, they're getting rid of Gamerscore as a numerical value.
God, that would be awful.
That would be terrible.
And I mean, the points are getting real high.
Yeah, but that's still like, and we were just talking about how Microsoft nailed it on the first go of achievements. Now they're gonna ruin it. Then
it's all over.
I'm just gonna be, if that happens, I'm gonna have to reevaluate my Xbox.
Oh no, it would definitely cause me to change my gaming habits.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. This is specifically for Mario, who asked for Sky is Falling. And this is definitely something I could see them, cooking up
in the realm of possibility, or at least they maybe had an internal discussion. But
just knowing Microsoft, like, I just look at the way Skype is handled. Skype is not handled well. I like the way. Well, many people disagree with me, but I also don't like the way Office is handled. I don't like modern Office at all.
That's just because you're cranky.
That's true. That's very true. But, I just don't really trust Microsoft much when they update things. Let's put
remember,
it that way.
It's a very, very large company with a lot of people working for them. So.
And especially, the scary word you threw in there was simplify. I don't like it when people, specifically in tech, when you simplify something, that's bad. Like 99.9% of the time, it's bad.
Yeah.
It means you remove features and you water it down for the masses. Ugh. Hate it.
They're coming out with the simplified achievement system. And we, have a little bit of consternation about that.
This is concerning.
I don't think it is really going to happen.
You guys have got me concerned now. See, I thought I was going to be slightly upset because I don't like the idea, but I was okay. They're like, but it's going to be separate. It's like, okay, I can maybe live with that. Maybe. Now you guys have ruined it. The sky is falling. This is the end. I'm done. I'm leaving right now.
You're actually taking this as gospel.
I'm having a bonfire tomorrow with all of my Xboxes. We're just preemptively burning.
I think that, honestly, that the
trophies still have points. I'm moving to PlayStation.
No, I don't think that would happen.
The way the achievement system works now, it's basically their biggest source of customer loyalty. I don't think they're going to... He says a fundamental change, and that's what's concerning, but I think it's probably going to be more iterative than anything, and I don't think they're going to really muck with the way it works. They may add an additional layer, like maybe, he mentions somebody playing Halo, in multiplayer. That's all they do. Well, maybe then they're going to have a bronze tier for each game. And a silver tier, or whatever they want to call it. And there's going to be some way to say, oh, this person plays this game a ton. I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, this is all speculation. I don't think the sky is falling. I don't think they're getting rid of Gamerscore. But I think it'll be fine.
Hopefully, think they're going to finally implement some type of completion, the equivalent of a platinum. That if you are saying you are a pro at this specific game, that completing all the achievements would be one way, and that they would implement something like that. Additionally, then, if it's a competitive type game like Call of Duty or something like that, maybe tie that into their arenas feature and have global leaderboards based on your arena standing. Maybe a global ranking system, or if they do an ELO type thing or whatever. I could see those types of things coming out of this. I think they would keep the Gamerscore system relatively untouched in terms of that, like not messing with that, but adding things to it to get those other people who don't go for Gamerscore, that they just are very good at very specific games that they do.
Imagine, though, and this is specifically to you, Randy, imagine if they did this kind of hybrid system where, like, maybe these games will kind of, it'll be built into them to have these sort of global leaderboards and how much have you played and what's your kill to death ratio and all this stuff. And imagine the slew of new leaderboard achievements that you could possibly get. It would be amazing. All of these games.
That's scary if they're like achievements. I mean, if they're like their own little challenge thing, I don't care. But
I'm thinking that if there was a system like that, then they could easily turn one of those things into an achievement. Like
you could just hook into it.
Yep, hit number, the top 100 in whatever, in this system, whatever.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know.
It's coming.
I don't know how I feel about another leaderboard achievement. Actually, I always kind of look for them and root for them, and then lately, though, I don't know. I have a couple I can do, and I just haven't really felt like doing them. So we'll see.
So
we will see.
Here's a change that Michael Used asks about. No, this isn't the question I want. We'll get to Michael Used later. It was from Kilgore. That's who I want to mention. So Kilgore asks, he asked this on Twitter, is if achievements were 1 point intervals, do you think we'd still hunt? Or do you think that the points are what keeps us going? Now, we did have a comment from Mr. Goodlife 54, and he said, and this very much reflects my own personal view, hunting would still be had. To which Kilgore replies, yeah, but I think he has 400,000 gamer score, and that would drop to 12,000. And he said, one feels so much better than the other. Yes, I agree. 400,000 does feel better than 12,000. But what do you guys think? If you had 1 point, would you still be as into it?
Well, I mean, 400,000 only feels better because of the context. Because, we've over a number of years trained ourselves to think at that scale. If 12,000 was, I mean, I guess I get what he's saying. I don't know that it would massively impact my playing habits because the achievement is what I'm going for, not necessarily those. Points are obviously directly tied to it, but the achievement is what I'm trying to hit. It would just be a very different scale.
Yeah,
we wouldn't have 1 million Gamerscore people. It just would just not be. It would be impressive to be in the few hundred thousands for sure.
25,000 Gamerscore people.
Yeah, so it's just would change. It's really kind of
immaterial.
As much as it pains me to say this about Gamerscore, it actually the points don't really matter.
Nope.
Essentially,
especially. I've said this before. I don't care about Gamerscore at all.
No.
I mean, it's there, but I will say. So, I mean, obviously, I care about the completions more than anything, and how hard the completions are. But I do think that it would have been harder to get into achievements in the first place without the Gamerscore. Because especially at the lower numbers, like 20,000, 30,000, this is way back like 07 when that was a lot. Those numbers are much more appealing than 200. Even if you kind of have that scale, like when you're just comparing, like, okay, I've got 1,000 points, or I've got 40,000 points versus most people that have 3,000. I don't know. The 1,000 makes it more appealing initially, and then later, once the addiction kicks in, then it doesn't matter.
It always fascinated me too, though, that they chose. It always seemed more intuitive to me that they would have picked 100 points per game than 1,000 points per game. I mean, thinking about it over a little bit longer of a period of time, it's like, well, okay, it's more easily more easily dividable when you do it with 1,000 points than 100 points. But it just seems like that 100 points would seem much more simple and easy and intuitive. But again, yeah, I don't think it would have changed anything for me as far as trying to go for them.
Yeah, I mean, just with the three of us in general, we tend to think of ourselves as completionists, or we go for the completion percentage, and that the high score isn't really, that's not what personally drives us. And even in terms of like old arcade games of like Galaga or Donkey Kong or whatever, the score was meaningless. Like I
like
care.
The score in those games.
Do you? I don't give a crap at all. It's about beating a boss, seeing the credits. Like that's what I want to do. Now, there are a few things like that one dude who did a Super Mario run where he only got like 50 points, like the lowest possible points. Like that was impressive. Like those kind of things are super cool. But
that's its own high score. It's a low high score.
Right, it's a different type
of
achievement.
It's a golf score,
yeah. Do I really care that somebody maxed out got what 8 9s up on there? Like, that doesn't really do anything. If you just gotta, I mean, it'd be one thing if it was an iterative game like a bullet hell or something. But if it's just like we gotta stand and jump on a Koopa Troopa for whatever to like that one up trick.
A game like that is the score is meaningless, but like when you have an arcade game like Robotron or Joust or something like that that's very competitive, or even Donkey Kong, is you're all about the high score because that's the goal. The goal is to get number 1 on the leaderboard.
Yeah,
at least to
me. That's just made me think. I don't even know what a good score in Super Mario Brothers is. Like it's never been a thing that I've ever seen. Nobody pays attention to it. It's like I've never seen anybody be competitive about it. Like it's interesting. Why? I wonder.
Well, because there's an end to it. There's it's got a story, and at some point that story ends. Whereas as an arcade game, you just keep going level after level after level and seeing how far you can go.
Until the game runs out of memory and ends.
I mean, in the same way that people try to maximize, with speed runs, I would think that there would be point runs for something like Super Mario Brothers.
Well, if there's a glitch for infinite points, then it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The score would be completely meaningless. However, the golf high score, that's different.
Yeah, that would be tricky. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, you're talking to people who just look for the individual achievements and, in theory, just want to get all of the achievements that are available to us. So, points, doesn't really do anything for me. But when there is a relative scale, for instance, 1,000 points versus 200 points, I tend to do less of the arcade titles than I would the retail titles. It's nice to have a weighted thing. But if everything was 1 point, then I'd be doing those 12 achievement games constantly if I could, if it was realistic. So there. Okay. Last question regarding achievements. Michael Hughes asks, and this kind of comes with the dashboard update here, or the simplified achievement system that we talked about last week, or past couple of weeks actually. He says, at the moment, if you are streaming on Mixer or Twitch from your Xbox One, the viewers can't see your achievement pop for those games because it happens on the cloud, not on the system. He says, do you think that since the achievements are no longer going to be cloud-based and they'll be console-based, that they actually will pop up on your stream so that viewers can see it?
I don't think so.
I had never considered this.
I don't think so. The notification doesn't show up on stream. Like, I think it's just notifications in general that don't show up on stream, right?
Yeah, yes, because I was just going to say, I don't think it's the case that it's because it was cloud-based, because you don't get any friend notifications on the stream. You don't get any message notifications on the stream. I think it's just notifications are disabled for the stream. And I wish they would enable them, or at least give you the option. It could be because it's cloud-based that they're disabled.
I don't think so.
Because you're pulling the feed from the system and uploading that. That's what makes it go faster. It doesn't have to go to the cloud and then go somewhere else. It comes straight from your console. And that,
I think, I don't know. There's more technicality here than I know, but I think it's just that it's literally streaming the video feed, and the operating system just places all of those notifications over top of it, and you just don't get that stream. You just don't get that element. So I think that's why you don't get any of those sort of notifications.
I hope it comes. Because clearly, if you're achievement hunting and you're trying to show videos and stuff like that, I mean, because that stuff's on capture cards.
But the capture card just captures everything that's on your screen. I mean, it's not filtering the notifications like the Xbox is.
Right. No, but I'm saying, like, if I'm watching an achievement video, I love the fact that I can watch that toast come up and say, oh, yeah, like, there you go. Awesome. I know at what point when they satisfy the conditions, this should pop. So not seeing that, because if you're just pulling video, most people wouldn't do that anyway. But if you're watching somebody on stream, like looking at the TA stuff where they got to put the overlay on there instead to promote that they're getting achievements for what they're doing. You got to go outside the system to do it, and I think that's just it's a missed opportunity.
I mean, I guess it comes down to that there's just such a small number of achievement streamers that I don't know. Like, it's just.
It seems trivial, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
It seems super trivial. Just give the people the option, and even if you keep it off by default, that's fine. Just give the people the option to say, "Hey, yeah, I want on-screen notifications to be streamed."
That's fair.
That's it.
That would be nice. So hey, easy Gamerscore alert. Now I don't know if this is for sure, but it's been announced that NBA 2K18. The Prelude is coming out September 8th. And so those of you who are familiar with NBA 2K17, The Prelude, that was a 2-hour 1000, and it was only 2 hours because you had to watch 90 minutes of unskippable cutscenes.
Well, actually, you just idled a bunch of games.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could foul out of the game.
Oh, yeah. It was great.
I got really excited about this because, I mean, like everybody did last summer, we all downloaded it, we all played it, And then, of course, Proulx loves the basketballs, so he downloaded the game. He's actually played the real game quite a bit. And so I've seen a lot of, what happens after the Prelude. Like this, like you were mentioning those unskippable cutscenes, they happen in the game, and then you take that character in the game and more stuff happens, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, man, I hope I can import my Prelude 16 character into my Prelude 17 character, even though I'm only getting a demo of it. And it was I think it was a very successful, unique kind of a demo.
It was.
And I think, sure, achievements had a lot to do with it, but I mean, I certainly wouldn't have played a basketball game last year without it. And I actually enjoyed it. I had a good time with it, and it was 2 hours and it was done. I don't know why they wouldn't keep this going, and I really hope they do.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And for those of you that don't have it, you can actually still get the Prelude 2K17, so it might get delisted.
Oh, you can?
Get delisted when 2K18 comes out. We'll see.
There you go. Keep your eye out. September 8th. I should also mention NBA 2K17, The Prelude, totally free. So 18, I'm assuming it's a demo. I'm assuming it's free. I'm assuming it's got 1,000 Gamerscore, and it's probably glitchy as hell. So just so you know, don't get caught, but get them points. We had talked, I had posed the question to you, Proulx, and Tarragon and Warren last week with my 28 game list of, things that essentially are supposed to be difficult conversation topics. And you quickly dismissed it as, dumb predictions from my standpoint. But the idea was and I appreciate that Tarragon actually picked up the mantle and had some thoughts about it. The idea was because they are essentially 50-50 options. Will there be a Destiny 3? You could make an argument on both sides as to why it would or wouldn't happen. And one of those I presented was Mass Effect. Would there be another Mass Effect announced before 2020? And the discussion I essentially was going to boil down to, the franchise is so popular that we assume at some point they're going to revisit it, but was it so damaged by Mass Effect Andromeda that they completely have to scrap anything that they were working on, start over, and that development timeline is going to be well beyond 3 years? Really is kind of where it's falling. Well, something that may help push you one way or the other is that the studio that did Mass Effect Andromeda, BioWare Montreal, yeah, that's gone. They the EA has announced that they are merging it with EA Motive, so that they're both Montreal studios, and they are just deciding, look, we're putting Mass Effect on hold. You guys had point on that, and I get, just didn't work out. So we're not going to fire anybody, but you're just going to go. We're just going to kind of move you right on into there, and so now
also change your name so no one knows who you are anymore.
Yeah. Motive is currently doing the single-player campaign for Star Wars Battlefront 2. And then there's also apparently a Star Wars action-adventure game that is being worked on there. So, it's not... So that's what they're working on now. Still space stuff, still space shooters, just, a different franchise. And Mass Effect is not happening through them. So what does that leave then? You got to get your headlining team, the main BioWare team. Well, they're working on Anthem right now, and then presumably the new Dragon Age. So I think this makes the case for new Mass Effect heavily leaning toward not happening before 2020. Nor are you going to have an announcement that it's anywhere imminent.
I couldn't disagree with you more. We will at least know of a new Mass Effect by 2020. I think much earlier. I'm going to say not next year, early 2019, maybe E3 2019 is when you're going to see.
So it's going to be powered by the Lion.
Put it on the forums, Proulx. I made the post in the forums. It's got the list of things. I started my predictions piece, but come on, put your money where your mouth is. Lay it down,
right, I will.
And say and put your prediction down, and we'll see who's right in 3 years.
I will.
I'm gonna rub it in your face so hard. Don't isolate that as a sound clip. That would be embarrassing.
And it's done.
Hey, Proulx, or Randy, right. This one is for you specifically. I know how much you love esports.
Oh,
you
yes.
are like Z to Z's resident esport expert. Now, here's your chance to turn that esport enthusiasm into an Olympic gold medal. Yes, the Paris Olympic Committee is considering esports for inclusion as a medal event in the 2024 Olympic Games. They're having conversations about doing it, and the quote unquote they're going to better understand what the process is and why it's such a success. It's not about it's not us. It's not about Olympics. The youth, yes, they're interested in esports and this kind of thing. Let's look at it. Let's meet them. Let's see if we can find some bridges. This article I'm reading from Kotaku here goes on to say that this isn't the first time that competitive video games have been in, the arena for Olympics. The 2016 Rio Games had an e-games showcase, apparently, but those were like exhibition matches and non-medal events. There were some Smite stuff and Super Smash Brothers, and there is a medal event and it's not totally tied into the 2022 Asian Games, but they are semi-linked to the Olympics. They have an esports with medals, so like it's not necessarily off the table, but Paris in 2024 is saying that we'll take a look. I'm not going to say anything, but we'll see what we think. Now, do you think that esports should be considered for Olympic medals? Proulx, what do you think?
I don't know. I don't really care. It doesn't seem to fit, because if you're going to do it every 4 years, you're going to have a fundamentally different field every 4 years. And I don't know how you're going to regulate that, or even like I mean, like, how would you come up with rules and which games would you pick? And
why do that for Evo every year? I mean, like you.
Well, no, that's different because Evo is specifically for
fighting games,
competitive multiplayer gaming. Why include that in the Olympics? You're kind of look. I'm not against it if they came out with some good strategy or some really smart way to do it. I don't know. Maybe they would take the top 5 most competitive games, most popular games of that year, and I don't know. I don't know what the best way to do it would be. It just seems really complicated, and I don't really think that it adds anything to the Olympics. I don't know why. Why can't video games have their own competitions?
Well, what do the Olympics stand for? What are the Olympics trying to do?
So I guess
to find
international cooperation, the best of the best between nations. Yeah. The problem is, again, if you're going to do esports, then how do you pick which games, how many games? Like, okay, so right now, what would be the most popular competitive game? Would it be Overwatch? I don't even know
Dota
at this point.
Or League. Dota or League would be my guess.
Dota, probably, right? So Dota. But guess what is not going to be the most popular competitive game in 4 years? It's going to be Dota. It's not going to be Dota. It's going to be something else. So I don't know.
No, it'll be Dota.
I mean, I can compare every nation's, 100-meter dash to all of recorded history. It's not going to work if I'm changing
and even if it was the same game. That game
again, I don't
so much in 3 months.
Yeah.
That it's the same thing. It's the results are not measurable like even 1 year to the next, let alone 4 years. Yeah, I don't know.
I think they are fundamentally different types of competition. And I don't disagree with you, Fream. Like, they don't necessarily disagree in, like, the goals of the Olympics. It's
the
just
execution.
It's not. Yeah, it's just not the way that they've been done for the past however many years. So I wouldn't be against it, but I don't know how you would implement it. It seems very, very difficult.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think you're right. It doesn't make sense because of how it's structured that it would be consistent every year. That doesn't embody what the Olympics are. Yes, you're looking for the best of the best, but it's so at a time and place, right? Because then you can't have stories like Michael Phelps winning all the gold medals over all these different years, because like you said, the game changes. Everything is different. Every iteration of that game, every patch, it doesn't work that way. That's why we have so many video game tournaments or an annual tournament and all that kind of stuff.
The other thing too, and like you were saying, Proulx, is there's so many different competitive games. Video games could have their own Olympics. Like there's competitive games,
really
there's so many now in esports, and especially when unintelligible yelling comes out, and if on Xbox One competitive esports game, esports, and EA's esports card game comes out for mobile phones. But yeah, and I don't know. The other thing too is like the Olympics, it's the wrong kind of like audience and culture around esports, I think, versus the Olympics. And the Olympics, to me anyway, to me, it's more like athletics. It'd be like, I would have the same argument for putting something like poker in the Olympics. It just doesn't fit. I mean, you can have poker tournaments, you can have competitive poker.
Yeah.
I'm sure it is actually competitive in some way, but it doesn't belong in the Olympics. It just, there are some competitive things that are considered sports that just don't fit with the Olympics.
Imagine, like, if we were to create a video game Olympics, imagine you were on the committee to decide which games were going to be in the video game Olympics, and how contentious and how controversial that would be.
Oh, it would be crazy.
And now imagine you're going to do that for the actual Olympics in front of the whole world. Like, that would be such a daunting task that nobody, I think, could actually do it properly. It seems so
not to mention, like, you only get to pick like maybe 1 or 2 games, especially the first time around, and you have this whole following of the Olympics for like since people have been alive. Yeah, that's no. And like tradition of that, no way. I don't know. I just don't. I mean, like you, I don't care. I mean, if they're in the Olympics, they're in the Olympics, whatever. But I just don't think. I don't think it fits. I don't think like the cultures fit. I don't think it makes sense to do it. It's just, I don't know. It sounds like a bad idea to me.
Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, again, like, I don't care. I'm not going to like have a fit that they put Dota in the Olympics, but it's going to be a one-off thing. That's for sure.
Yeah.
At least for that
I agree.
specific game.
I mean, we'll see what this committee ends up coming up with and what kind of determination they have. But I think they'll likely come to the same conclusion that we do. Is like, look, it just doesn't make sense. It, as popular as they are, that's why we have other avenues for that popularity. I don't know.
Well, the other thing too is, I mean, look, competitive games are barely even televised. We're still, we just had that story about them having to pause and reset a game because the character was too sexual or whatever.
Yeah, right.
On just TV.
Right.
Like, they can't even get it figured out enough to televise it on, like, ESPN or whatever. So, how are they going to figure that out for the Olympics? That's, like, a huge deal. Like, how are you going to watch? I mean, I guess you can watch it. You can project it on a big screen in an auditorium somewhere. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, last thing I want to talk about in the news is just essentially why I am so smart. SMRT, I am so smart. It's because I play video games, turns out. There's some studies going on out there. And so it's actually there's tons of studies about video games and intelligence and what if it's good for you, if it's bad for you, if it's whatever. And so this just kind of a little thing here that was on NPR headlined is video games may affect the brain differently depending on what you play. Okay, so here's the thing. Gamers like us who tend to play a lot of different games and maybe enjoy some puzzle games here and there, that's good. That makes us smarter. That actually helps our brain. People who are super excited for Overwatch's new deathmatch and play Call of Duty constantly, who are just doing mindless shooters. Not that Overwatch is a mindless shooter. That's actually a fairly well done team-based game, although deathmatch is probably going to be different. Your fast twitch shooters, well, that actually shrinks your brain and turns you dumber. Okay, that's an oversimplification. You're not actually getting dumber, but it does shrink your brain. So there's a couple of the studies that they highlight here. One says that these the researchers asked, and now granted it's only 33 participants, about how often they play video games in the past year, and then they scanned people's brains using an MRI and found that those players who played action video games, and they said that they play an average of 19 hours of action video games per week. Right, so 3 hours a day playing, Call of Duties or whatever, Battlefield, whatnot. They actually had less gray matter in their hippocampus than non-video game players. And so that was statistically significant. Then they went ahead and asked 43 people who don't usually play video games to spend 90 hours a week, or 90 hours over 10 weeks, so 9 hours a week, playing either action video games or like or Super Mario type side-scrolling platformers in this setting. And these people who don't normally play video games and chose to play the action video games lost gray matter. Their brain shrank. And the ones who played the other like the puzzle-based platforming games actually gained gray matter. Their brains actually increased. And they're kind of just saying like, okay, well, what the hell's going on here? Like, I mean, they're fundamentally kind of doing the same thing, right? So how come How come one of you is getting dumber and the other one's getting smarter? Well, they're kind of attributing it to atrophy. That if you are simply playing a fast-pitched shooter game, that you don't actually have to necessarily think. You just have to react. And so you're not using the areas of the brain that do long-term thought and all that kind of stuff, that you're actually just more of using instinctual reactive properties, and that you're favoring those areas, and so the rest of the brain shrinks. Whereas in puzzle games or games that you have to, use more cognitive thought, well, now you're actually exercising the brain, and things are getting more, more attuned, and they're growing. So there you go. Ultimately, because us achievement hunters have to use our brains and play so many different games all the time, we're actually the smartest gamers on the planet. So that's nice, right?
Not to mention planning to get all those achievements in the most efficient manner as possible.
We are the best at using Excel.
Oh, that reminds me.
I just did a big Excel sheet at work. I was really excited. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
There was, I forgot to mention this in my recap, but I looked up the how to get the achievement for the Heartbreaker in Rocket League. And the guide was just perfect. It was absolutely brilliant. And so the flavor text of the achievement is you have to, using the Hearts decal, like a Hearts logo on your car, paint job, you have to beat an all-star bot, and so that in order to get the achievement. Okay, well, all-star bots are, in theory, they're pretty difficult. So here's the trick. You set up, all this can be done in exhibitions. So you set up a private game where one goal will end the match, and you go up against one all-star bot, and then you start. And instead of driving toward the ball, you just get out of the way and drive off to the side. And the all-star bot will hit the ball toward the goal, and when it looks like it's going to go in, you hit pause and switch teams. And then it goes in the goal, and guess what? You're the winner! I was like, that is brilliant, and it could not have been easier. Oh, it's just awesome.
Pretty awesome.
No, it's a great guide. It is a great guide.
It made me so happy, and, it was like a huge ratio, too. So, it was just glorious. Absolutely glorious.
That's a good one.
I think that's about it for news here. We have a decent chunk of listener feedback here, so we should try and rapid fire these as best we can. We'll start with Foo Cuddly Poof. He says, hey, would it be a good thing or a bad thing for developers to add DLC type things in their games, depending on Gamerscore or achievements unlocked in like their present or past games? So he brings up the instance of Halo 3 that had armor that you could only unlock by getting certain achievements, right? That it opened up other avenue to get these things. So what do you guys think about developers adding guns, bonuses, armors, or whatever, only being unlocked by those, like if you have higher gamer score in that game, or you get multiple achievements that unlock through the series, like, he brings up the example Call of Duty, right? If you got these achievements, then you have access to these guns or something. What do you guys think? Is that a good thing, a bad thing to try and increase, the funding for these games?
As long as they don't, I like it as long as they don't restrict. Like, say I bought Halo 3 and then Halo 4, and I didn't get all the achievements in Halo 3, and it would prevent me from getting an achievement in Halo 4.
Yes.
I don't have any problem with it at all. I think it's nice to reward players for loyalty and stuff like that. So
I mean, it's kind of like what Stop and Swap was supposed to be in Banjo-Tooie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the thing. It's like you have Banjo-Kazooie. You found all the secrets. You did all the stuff. And then now in Banjo-Tooie, you hot swap the games and you get some goodies. Except not, because they still hate us. They never really gave it to us the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah,
little sour grapes on that one, Rare. Just a little bit.
Yeah, I think...
And they still mock us.
They do.
All the time.
I don't know. what about, like, because there's a lot of games that if you pay for DLC or something, you actually get a like a better gun or something that makes life easier, which, okay.
If it's paid, no way. I mean, this has to be free. This is, you got the achievement, you play the new game, you get it for free. No payment. Period. It's bad.
Yeah, but like what if, it's a pre-order bonus or something and you get a rocket launcher?
No payment.
I didn't say it was payment.
Like
You're
those.
paying for the normal game. You just bought it early.
No, pre-order counts. No pre-order bonuses. No paid DLC. Just achievements.
So that's where you draw the line?
Yeah. Because I don't like any of those things. They're stupid.
Gotcha. Koosh Moose asks, why do good things happen to bad people? He didn't. Go ahead.
Because I was just going to say, because bad things also happen to good people. We live in a different world.
If TV is to believe that, I'm thinking a life of crime actually is pretty lucrative and is probably the way to go.
But then you end up dead in the series finale, and then it's not kind of worth it. So you got to take the good with the bad.
All right, he does have a real question though. No,
my answer is because the world is a terrible place and people are terrible.
He does a real question.
It's Rain Cloud.
That says, I'm not sure if you covered this before, but what do you think of games? What do you think of when games give you fun and creative achievements and not just these, counters or level completions and whatnot? He brings up the team of at Rebellion for Zombie Army Trilogy, that they do a pretty decent job and are creative when it comes with their achievement titles, at least, and to some extent the things you have to do. But do you guys have any others? Anything that stands out as like, that's actually, like it's a clever achievement list, or you particularly like the titles, the puns or whatnot? I feel like that's most achievement lists is pun action. Like it's constantly
the puns actually get a little old these days.
I agree.
They're a little overdone.
So I was just getting some Perfect Dark Zero achievements for Leapfrog, and those achievements are as straightforward as possible. Super boring. Like, you got 10,000 points in this mode. And it's like literally 10,000 points in this mode. 100,000 points in this mode. It's like, no,
before anyone knew what achievements were.
I yearned for the puns. It was, a clever achievement title goes a long, long way. So I would pick something like the Borderlands achievements,
those.
which are
I
like them a lot. I think they're
pretty much everything about Borderlands.
Generally,
actually,
pretty clever. Well, that's just too bad. The Lego puns are actually generally pretty good as well. A lot of gold to be mined from Lego.
I like the ones that. I like the mix. I think I've mentioned that on the show before, that I do like the straightforward ones where it's like, yeah, you should give me an achievement for completing this level, beating the boss, doing those things. Like, there should be a handful of those that help monitor progression throughout a pre-described campaign. But then I like the ones that are like, oh, hey, while you're at it, why don't you, in this level, beat it with only a knife? Or why not in this level, do this weird kind of goofy thing that we put into the game? I like those.
Yeah, I do like those.
And I can't come up with an example.
The ones that kind of cause you to maybe go out of your way a little bit or do something a little differently. And also ones that really force you to experience all the game has to offer as well. Not in, get 10 million zillion collectibles, but like, explore everywhere, or, play all the mini games or play all the side quests or whatever. Just those kind of achievements that are just for really playing everything without being too excessive.
Shababble asks, is Slime Rancher better than Clicker Heroes? Randy, you
Absolutely,
I don't know.
Absolutely not.
Probably.
Absolutely not.
It's not Money Clicker. So, Proulx, how much money have you put into Money Clicker now? Like $300?
$2. I put
$2.
You
did spend money on it. I knew it.
I did.
Money Clicker.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I have no problem with that because I have spent, oh God, I don't even know at this point, maybe 30 hours,
do you
40
want to
hours,
know?
50
Do you want to know how many hours?
No, I have no idea.
Ugh.
I have no
Why?
idea. A lot of time into that game. And $2 is such an easy, absolutely, of course, why wouldn't I?
You're encouraging this horrible economy of
No, if it's a good
premium games.
If it's a good...
It's
I'm
money
sorry.
clicker.
Are you saying that you haven't paid $60 for a game that you regretted?
Nope.
I'm sure there is a $60 game that you paid full price for.
None.
That you... Yeah, think of Dead Rising
Rock
4.
Band.
Or Rock Band.
No, I did not pay $60 for Dead Rising 4.
Well, okay. That's a unique situation, but it's a thing of Rock Band, right? And you spent full price on that. Well, did you? I assume you bought. Did you also buy a peripheral with that as well?
The guitar, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so you spent $100
and Rivals. Actually, that one is.
So you spent $130 on Rock Band 4.
I reluctantly bought Rivals. I didn't regret it, but I was just very upset when I was making the purchase.
Anyways,
unlike the first purchase that I was very upset with and regretted very much.
That the price per hour of enjoyment still super high. So I have no problem paying $2.
You're encouraging microtransactions everywhere. That's the problem.
For a game, I mean, the game is actually specifically just. Well, I wouldn't even argue it's just designed around that, but it is designed with that model in mind. No problems with it at all, and I would gladly pay more money. But I kind of enjoy where I'm at in the game, so I don't have any problems with just going through it.
Just wait. Just watch that money clicker go up. It'll get you.
To be fair, I haven't played Slime Rancher, so I can't actually comment on that. But I love Clicker Heroes so much that I have a big issue even conceptualizing that this. I've seen some gameplay videos of Slime Rancher and stuff, but it doesn't seem to be the game for me. I'm going to pick Clicker Heroes. Yeah, that's my opinion.
It's funny. I was getting reamed out in the Discord channel by Big L. Because last night when I was playing Rocket League, I got a loot crate thing, and I was like, they got some kind of cool skins in there. Like, I'd like to just kind of jazz up my car a little bit. And so I was like, well, what does a key cost? Oh, it's $1.50, huh? Well, I got a couple of bucks sitting on in my account. Just,
You're encouraging
it's
this too,
and I might as well just give it a spin, see what I come up with. I enjoy Rocket League so much that I appreciate Psyonic's effort, and I'm willing to give them a little bit of a $1.50 tip for the amount of enjoyment, the consistent updates and stability that game has offered. So I threw $3 their way. I got a couple of keys and some pointless cosmetic items that I can't use.
Randy, you are on record for saying that Psyonix handles the microtransaction model well.
They do, but
they don't shove it in your face.
But you guys still bought into it.
Well, no, it's okay to buy into it. It's okay to pay for the games that you enjoy. Especially take Rocket League, which is only a $20 game. I've gotten more than $20. I haven't paid any microtransaction for Rocket League yet. I've considered it, but I haven't. But I don't begrudge anybody that has, and I would definitely do it if there was some sort of like USS Enterprise themed car that I could get. I bet your butt that I would be paying for that. I would definitely be trying to get it, and I think they handle it super well. They don't shove it in your face. It's like, hey, if you want these cool shiny things, I'll pay a little extra money. Whatever, no big deal. If you don't, then you can just enjoy the game.
They do it good for microtransactions, but you're still buying microtransactions.
But microtransactions aren't inherently bad.
Yes.
Yes, they aren't? Or yes, they are?
They're not.
Sorry,
they're
yes,
not.
they are.
They help support the game.
No, they're not.
They're bad.
Yep.
It's just a different model. That's it. It's just a different way
I'd rather
of paying for the games you
microtransactions
like.
supported than paying $100 for a game. Like I'm gonna buy. I got to preload Destiny on September 6th or 7th. Get it downloaded when it comes out, and like I got to throw $60 at that. I'll likely want to get in on the season pass because I know I want to play that content. So I'm paying. I'm
don't
paying
buy it in
$100,
advance.
and it's like
don't buy it in
annoying.
advance.
You know, I want the Eververse.
It'll be on sale before the first piece of content. I want the Eververse
to pay for my, pay for my expansions, my DLC, my events, all sorts of crap like that. I don't want to do that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Hey, Miserly Pluto asks us, and whether or not we've discussed this on the show or not, but what are the best and worst achievement lists? And now I'm going with like specifics here. Do you have any specifics? The one I think of as far as the worst, and that's actually a series, are those ACA Neo Geo games. Those are just stupid. Those lists are pointless, and everyone's the same, and it's just like they have to figure out a different score that should be a good target. They're just dumb. Just dumb. As far as I don't have a best per se, like on the top of my head. What I enjoy as the most rewarding achievement list, I guess, is for lack of a better term. What do you think? Do you guys have anything?
I have one that answers them both at the same time, and that is Gra.
Why is it? Because of
the
variety
best and the worst. No, well, because it takes 3,000 hours and it's incredibly satisfying to complete. So it's terrible. I would never do it again, but it was great.
I should look at some of my completed games and see if I have anything. Proulx, do you have anything that you can think of?
Well, I mean, just because of recent events, I'm going to say something like Halo 3 was super satisfying to complete. So,
Halo 3 did have a really good list in general, though.
I think I don't want to overgeneralize too much because it would be easier to do that. But the Halo games in general seem to kind of strike a really good balance of skill, time, and effort.
Reach had a few that were kind of getting stupid, like that you would never ever do in a legitimate game. Because like I have a friend that's like super good at Halo, like not quite true skill 50, but like up there. And he liked to do all the Halo achievements. He didn't boost any, but Reach is, as far as I know, the only one on his tag that he has not been able to complete through legitimate play.
Hang on, Randy. You just mentioned that you thought Gra was a super awesome list that is great, and now you're saying that if you can't get it legitimately, then it's not a good list? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, but I mean, that's part of what makes Halo 3 fun, is that you can do all of those achievements just by playing multiplayer games. Like you don't, it's something you do. I mean, boosting is going to make it a lot easier, and it's basically a necessity now. But back when there was a population, you could actually just play the game, and if you were a decent player, you'd probably get everything eventually.
A decent player and lucky, I would argue.
There's a bit of luck, but I mean, if you casually go out of your way in matches, most of the stuff you'll get not without too much luck involved. I mean, the double laser was a little tough.
Yes, the double laser is, I would argue, pretty impossible. But yeah, that's fair.
Now, did you play team or did you play solo?
I didn't play a lot of solo, and you have to do it in solo. So.
Solo is where it's at for the laser, because you just find two people that are running at each other, and you shoot in the middle of them, and you hit them both and kill them and win. That's how I did it. Because I would pretty much exclusively play solo when I was playing Halo 3. And now I know they got a little bit tougher in the DLC when that came out, like the later DLC packs, but they still weren't crazy. But I know there was one, like, there's a couple in Reach that, like, it was like a specific map, and it was like a really weirdly specific requirement on some of them that you basically would just never get. Just kind of too bad, but still generally pretty good list on Reach as well.
Yeah. I found mine, and it's Red Dead Redemption.
Yes. Great
95
list.
achievements, pretty much all the story stuff, a bunch of fun, like, silly things that are thrown in there, and the 100% completion. Pretty much covers everything you need to know about that game, and still adds a lot of variety to what you have to do.
Except the gambling achievements. Those are stupid because people leave the tables when they're out.
Yep, those are dumb. I did not care for the Spurred to Victory one, where you have to complete 20 story missions without switching your horse.
Yes, and especially because it was buggy.
Was dumb. Buggy,
yeah,
exactly.
It was buggy. You need to be very careful about hitching your horse and a few other things.
Yep. But in general, I mean, it's a solid list. I was happy with it. So there you go. Awesome. Let's move into our next question from Saucy Slingo. He actually has two questions. Let's start with the first one. Do you feel that having a significant other move in impacts your playtime on Xbox?
Is this directed at Proulx?
Well, he does say me. He wants to know what my feelings are. I don't necessarily know why he is asking me specifically. Let me just give my thoughts that, I think, when you have a change in your dynamic at home, that things are going to change. And so does that mean less time for podcasts? Does that mean that your gaming is going to struggle? Does that mean you're going to get nagged on by your significant other, maybe? I don't. I think things can only get worse. Why are you laughing, Proulx?
So, it came out that my girlfriend is actually moving in with me, which is why I won't be on the show next week. So Saucy is, I think, having a little bit of fun with me here. And it came up. We were talking, and. Oh, we're never going to hear from you again. You're going to be gone the whole time. No, it's okay. I've lived with this person before, and it was never an issue. So presumably, it wouldn't be an issue in the future. Of course, things will change. Life changes, but I'm not going anywhere, and I don't think anybody has anything to worry about. I know, really, especially for Saucy, this comes from a place of concern about how much Proulx time he gets. And I just want to address that directly. Saucy, you will get as much Proulx as you need, whether it's me or Proulxmate. You don't have anything to worry about. So,
okay. Mark this day, episode 87. Proulx says that it's not going to affect the show and his life and whatnot. That goes down as one of the biggest lies I've ever heard. There's no way. It's like having a baby. It's like getting married. But that being said, you adapt, right? Because gaming is clearly important. It's important to me. It's important to you. It's part of our identity. And so we find ways to do it. You make changes. You plan for it. So yes, okay. In all realistic, you're going to find time to do these things. But that the amount of free time likely is going to go down. Maybe the types of games. I don't know your girlfriend, if she like to play games with you. Would you co-op some things? Maybe that is something you guys could do. I know my wife just will absolutely not play video games with me, and hates. I got reamed out so hard this week because I played a bunch of Pokemon Go this week, getting some legendary battles, and let's just say I made some bad life decisions when it came to putting Pokemon as a higher priority than my family. By like skipping dinner or coming home late for dinner, or showing up late to the gym when I was like, I got this Lugia raid. They're all set up. Look, I missed it by 2 minutes. 2 minutes late. It's just a warm-up. I don't need to be there for the warm-up. Anyway. So, and I know we've already gone pretty long on the show, but I do have a quick Pokemon Go story. I was walking across the street to get some dinner, and to get to the place that I wanted to go to, I had to go through, several parking lots of all these different restaurants and stores and malls and stuff. And
there was a bunch of people gathered around this tiny little, right in this parking lot, in this tiny little island in the middle of it. And I'm just thinking, I mean, I actually had Pokemon Go up at the time, but I'm such a non-competitive player. I wasn't thinking raid or anything like that. I was just walking to go get my food.
Yeah.
And then as I approached them, I'm like, oh, what the heck? Like, it looked like mostly younger people all huddled around together. There was probably 25 of them or so. It was a good group of people. And I'm like, what are they doing? Whatever. I don't care. I'm just going to keep walking. I'm going to go past them and get my food. And then I realize, oh, there is a Zapdos raid starting in 3 minutes. And that's what all of these people are doing. And it's amazing. And I'm like, I didn't get to participate because I was actually kind of in a rush. But it's still amazing that game is bringing people together. I love that game so much.
It's really cool.
It's great.
And, I actually saw very near your hometown, because I drove through it last weekend. There was like a bunch of people just kind of crowded together on the side of the road near like a landmark or something. I mean, I don't know if they were playing Pokemon, but pretty sure they were playing Pokemon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this summer, because they after the Chicago event, they released the legendary birds and Lugia, and so those are they're prominent raid battles. And so I've actually joined a Discord group in my area to try and track these things down. I've joined a Facebook group, and so even today, right, I went and picked up the kids, and I pulled up Facebook, and they said, hey, Lugia raid over at this park near the gym. I got 2 here. I'm like, dude, I'm 20 minutes out. Can you wait? Sure thing. And so I get there, and so I've never brought my son and daughter to these before, but I've been to like 4 or 5 of these raid events. And so I was like, oh, hey, my sister-in-law, she plays. My niece, she plays. You guys want to go? Let's just all go to the park. It's just down the street. It's not too far away. And so we show up, and there are, essentially in my neighborhood, there's this crew of like 30 people who I keep seeing in all these same locations. And so it's like we're joking around, we're talking about, oh, you're the guy who's on that gym all the time, or you keep kicking me off of here, and I recognize that user tag. And one guy, so my son was playing on my sister-in-law's phone, and one guy's like, yeah, I went to the Chicago event, I caught a shiny Magikarp, and my son was like flipping out. He's like, oh, you got a shiny? Oh my, and he's like so excited about it. And even like when we're talking about raid strategy, I don't know if you guys know, there's a strategy. It depends how big your group is, but it's like, all right, hey, do we want to split up between parties? How many Mystics do we got? We got Valors. You want the Valors over there? They should go in. We'll take the Instinct, and you guys can go here. And you set up a separate group. All right, Bulbasaur, Squirtle. That's our private group there. I mean, it's intense, and it's fun. I mean, people are out again, and they're excited to be, doing things together. And all of a sudden, it's like, hey, all right, we finished Lugia. Hey, there's a Zapdos just at the park up the street. You guys ready to go? Yeah, let's head out. And we caravan. I mean, people caravan from spot to spot to go do these things. It's cool. It's cool. I don't know when it's going to end, and I still need to catch Lugia. I missed him today. I had 8 balls, and I missed. So he ran away. But I got my 3 legendary birds, and I'm in the doghouse. So you take the good with the bad. Saucy also asks, what's your ideal TV size for gaming? Now, I think this one, it's tough to answer because it depends on your distance from that TV, right? If you're sitting at a desk and you have an awesome, 27-inch monitor, that's probably good if you're very close to the screen. But if, in my living room, I got a 55, that's pretty good. I mean, I could go with a 65 in my living room, but now down here in the basement, a 65 would be pretty silly because I'm a lot closer to the TV. So, a 40, 48 probably is better downstairs for me. But what do you guys think? Do you guys have a preference?
In most cases, I actually don't like the big TVs. I much, much prefer the small, high-res monitor on a desk in front of me. Or small as in 25 to 27-inch monitor, then that's what I play on. I have it almost always play on. I have it very close to the couch, and I just have it on a coffee table, and that's what everything's plugged into. It looks great. It's close. I mean, I don't know. I don't like the distance. I'd just much rather have it right in front of my face.
Yeah, I gotcha. What about you, Proulx?
Yeah, I was happy with my situation before, but as I mentioned previously, Prumate bought this bigger TV, and I'm a little jealous. So I'll probably end up getting a bigger one anyways. But I don't like the whole monitor thing. It's not. I don't know. On a desk is not for me. It's just it's too close. I would prefer like a bigger screen further away than a smaller screen close up.
See, but my thing is like with my TV upstairs, I stand in the middle of my living room to play games. Because I want to be, based on the size of my TV, I want to be 6 feet away from it. And my couch is 15 feet away. And so it's like, that's too far.
Wait, your couch is 15 feet away from your TV?
I haven't measured it. Maybe it's only 12.
Oh, okay. I guess, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm thinking that's further than it is.
I mean, if I could,
you're right.
Yeah,
never mind.
Probably about 12 feet. I could lay two full-grown adults on, head to toe, and it would be about where the couch is. Because I mean, it's inset above my fireplace, like it's on the wall in my fireplace.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking my living room. I'm like, 15 feet, like that's far. I'm thinking like 6 feet. Like no, but yeah, you're right. Like I could probably lay two people from like the tip of my couch to the TV. So
yeah, I would. But I want to be 6 feet away from a 55-inch TV. And so that means I stand, and I've given myself back issues because I stand and I cross my legs. Like I'll stand with my left foot as the prominent prop foot, and then I'll take my right foot and just ever so slightly lay it on top of my left foot. So the edge of my right foot is on the ground, and I just have that like slight twist, and that has wrecked my hips because I stand there in game for hours on end, standing in an uncomfortable position, but like I don't realize it.
You get it like a chair or something.
Because I don't. There's nowhere to put the chair when it's not just propped in front of my TV.
Get a folding chair or something. I mean, that's got to be better than standing there. Well,
and so that's the thing. It's like it depends on the game. So like I usually sit, at a computer maybe on the couch, and that's not so bad. But when it's like high intensity, like I really got to focus, or I got to have precision aim or something like that. Like I want to stand up and be in the action. But if it's casual, like Letter Quest or something, where I can sit down, like I'll sit down and do that, and that's fine being far away. But yeah, I'm about like 6 feet away from a 55-inch is probably my go-to. And someone will probably hear that and say, "Yeah, actually, you're gonna go blind pretty soon. That's actually terrible for your eyes." But we'll see. I think we got one last question here, and then we're done. It comes from JJ Aldana, and he says, "Hey, 2017 is halfway over. Do you guys have a game of the year so far?" His is hands down Resident Evil 7. What do you guys think so far for your game of the year? I think
nothing.
I think the hardest thing for me is just coming up with games that were released in 2017 that I played. That's always the issue.
That were like actually interesting. It's funny. I was chatting. Well, probably Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah. Okay. I would put that on the list.
That's probably the only game that's actually good that came out this year that I played. And it's funny. I was gonna put a note in our planning page about this, but I was chatting with JJ Aldana a little bit a couple days ago, and he sent me a link to Gears of War 4 Gold Edition that comes with the season pass, and it was like $16. He's like, is this a good deal? Should I get this? And I kind of jokingly just immediately responded with no, because it's a mainstream AAA game for more than $2, because I don't usually play those games. And then I got to thinking, like, it's actually probably not worth that, because I don't know. I mean, I'm just so, like, or at least to me, I mean, maybe it is to some people, but I'm just so uninterested in every AAA game that comes out. It's kind of, I don't know, that just gave me like an especially big reaction to that. Like, I mean, I've kind of known I've been trending that way for a while, but like, I just remember I used to get, sometimes I get excited about games that come out, and there's just like, everything is just like, something about it just is like, no, it's like, hey, this is Forza 300, this is Halo 700, whatever. You know, I always make that joke, but
it's true. I mean, that's a lot of what we're getting.
It's really disappointing, and it's like a huge bummer. And then now everything has microtransactions in it. Everything is trying to be a game as a service. Like, why can't we just have, even if it's just a couple, like just games that are just full games that come out that are good? They don't have to be like, you know, $200-300 million budget, but like a decent budget game that's just a game. Nope. Can't have that.
Yeah.
We can't have that anymore. It's really lame. It's really quite lame.
I am currently going through the Wikipedia page on 2017 game releases. And so of the games that came out in first quarter, January, February, and March, I did not play a single one of those games. I own some of them. Thimbleweed Park, Snake Pass, Has Been Hero, like a lot of the ID titles, like I own, have not played them. I'm trying to even come up with the first possible game that I've actually played that came out in, like I bought Flint Hook and Sexy Brutale, and we have Guardians of the Galaxy at our disposal, and Voodoo Vince, Wonderboy. I mean, we have so many of these, like, and I didn't play any of them yet. Have you guys, literally, have you played anything that came out in 2017?
I probably
played
did.
Guardians.
Well, yeah, I played Ukulele. I mean, I've played some of the stuff, like when I was doing Reviews Head.
World to the West. That's a 2017 game I've played. Okay. So that's my default winner so far of Game of the Year, based on TA's ability to only vote on games that released or that you have on your tag. I will say I am going to play Little Nightmares that'll be next weekend. Next Saturday is my Little Nightmares plan. Tomorrow I'm playing, I'm going to play Firewatch. My wife is going to a bachelorette party.
2017?
Nope, it didn't. It didn't, but I'm excited to play it. It's on my random to-do list. So I get to play the whole thing. That's the goal. Yeah, my wife is going to a bachelorette party, so I have to drive her there, and then it's not my problem. Someone else is taking her home. So hopefully it's not another man, and it's my brother-in-law who's just picking them up and bringing her to my house. But suffice it to say, I have the whole night of gaming ahead of me. Just got to get those kids to bed. So I'm super excited about playing Firewatch.
I'm sure they'll be disappointed to hear that they're going to bed immediately after dinner.
Yeah, yep. Oh man, it's so
and
late,
not
guys.
a peep is to be heard from them
7:30
the whole time.
Black and White Bushido, put that on my list. I've played 2 games that have released in 2017. This is depressing.
I know. And I don't know what it was about that Gears of War code that just really made it click for me. Like, this is really sad. Like, well, first of all, that there are so few, not indie games coming out as the first thing. I mean, you look at, because I think that what the problem is we only now we only have like mega budget games and no budget games. There's
no middle class
very little
anymore.
in between, and a lot of that in between stuff was actually pretty good filler. I mean, I use filler in a good way, like in between the big releases. And there was an interesting article on TA too about the kind of decline of movie games. How we don't see any movie games ever, and it's funny is, we all complain about movie games forever, but I kind of miss them. There's some kind of charm about those terrible movie games. Once in a while, not all the time, but once in a while. So I don't know. I don't like it. I'm hoping though, what I'm really hoping is that like in the next 5 years or something, there will be enough indie studios that can kind of hit that sweet spot of like a 30-person team and afford to make a decent sized game. And then we might get kind of that like that rare effect where you had those kind of those small to small medium teams that could just produce gold every single time because it was big enough that you could accomplish something great, but small enough that you still like knew everyone and could actually collaborate properly. I mean, this is of course all speculation. I've never worked on a real game.
Right.
So, but I mean, it seems like that size is kind of a good size instead of like 10,000 people with $200 million budget. Unless it's Rockstar.
Yeah, right. I agree. I think there is kind of a lack of a middle class in terms of game sizes. But that being said, I don't think the size of the team matters because you can get very large, well put together games with just a relatively few people. I mean, like, you know, I would say like a game like Ori and the Blind Forest is a high tier small game. You know, does that get into your middle ground? And that was done by like 6 people.
I mean, it's still 2D. I mean, not necessarily that 2D is kind of like the something bad about it, but I'm thinking like that kind of like late N64, early GameCube era of 3D games that were like pretty good. I mean, they're not like gigantic, massive GTA 5 3D games. But, like, they're good size, good gameplay. You know, there was some good meat there. But it's not just a 2D game. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Ori's probably close to, like, kind of a middle ground kind of game.
Well, I mean...
Ukulele, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly the kind of, like, budget. The budget and team size, like, Ukulele is exactly what I'm looking at as those type of games.
I just think you'll end up getting some of these things with, you know, some sequels to these indie games as they get a little bit of traction that, you know, or their follow-up game per se will have, you know, a little bit more flexibility with some of their resources.
Yeah, that's kind of my hope, is just the studios can get big enough where they have a little bit of extra, you know, not just covering the cost of their games, but they build up a catalog big enough that they can afford to finance a fairly substantial project with more than, you know, 5 or 6 people on it. So you can have a fairly ambitious project that doesn't have a crazy budget with, you know, in a timeline that isn't like 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, things like that. So,
yep,
that's my hope. Now we'll see what happens, but loot boxes seem to be the way to go, and those games will probably all have loot boxes. So,
yep, there you go. Why don't we move into our Knobs and Discos, our home for unobtainable and discontinued achievements? We'll get toward wrapping up this show. Randy, you at the beginning of the show had some doom and gloom.
I did, of course.
What is that in reference to?
It is in reference to Killer Instinct, unfortunately. And in Killer Instinct, there are 2 achievements that are partially discontinued, to my knowledge. Now, one of the 2, I'm going to have to do a little more playing around with. But as far as right now, the achievement for getting a Guardian of every tier. Currently, unless you have a Crimson Guardian, you cannot get that achievement. Because I recently discovered that you cannot get Crimson Guardians out of packs. There has to be a special pack on sale that has a Crimson Guardian in it. And that can pop up, you know, maybe for a week every 2 months, if ever. It's something that manually has to be done on Iron Galaxy's side for the game to have that pack. So if one pops up again, I highly recommend buying it if you want to complete the game.
Yeah.
And then you can complete the rest of the set whenever. Unless it's a Fractured Ward Guardian, which comes to my next point, is I bought over 50 packs. I haven't got a single one. There's only 8 different types. So I don't see the reason why I wouldn't have gotten one. And that's kind of concerning. So I tweeted Killer Instinct, I tweeted Iron Galaxy. I got no response from either one of them. But it seems as though those are no longer in normal packs. So we'll see if that gets changed. I mean, support has not been dropped for Killer Instinct. So hopefully they'll both come around. But I would be very disappointed if that's an achievement I don't have. I have the Crimson Guardians. I do not have the Fractured Ward. And if that's the only achievement I can't get in Killer Instinct, I'm going to be very upset. Because not only does it mean I can't complete Killer Instinct and I'd be left with 463 out of 464 achievements, it also means I can't get 100% completion on Xbox One, which I would be very upset about. So
yeah, and
especially because it's a super easy achievement. Once you have the Guardian, it's just play a few matches and you get it, and that's it's pretty lame. So I'm hoping that comes back. If I get a response to those tweets, I will update next week. But I'm guessing I probably won't. And that's it for Knobs and Discos.
Sure. Ooh. Gotcha. Well, I'm going to touch on... Oh, go ahead, Proulx. What, you got something?
Yeah, totally. We were just talking about Yooka-Laylee, and they released an update. And I can't confirm this, but this was an achievement that glitched for me, which apparently was fixed in the latest update, where there was a certain level called
Capital Casino.
Capital Casino, yeah, where it didn't count all of the collectibles that you collected in that level, but apparently it's been fixed. So if you load up the game at this point, it's been reported that it will adjust and you will be able to get the rest of those achievements. So I haven't done it yet, but I plan on doing it. But apparently that has been fixed. So
I did see that in the patch notes as well. So that's a good sign.
Awesome. Well, I have a little bit of zombie news. I just want to touch on briefly the Dead Alliance beta. Well, they came back. It's over now, the open beta. I had mentioned my thoughts on it. Kind of janky, but it had some things there that might be worth it. Well, the game's supposed to come out on August 29th, and they said, okay, here's the things, the jankiness, the server lag, all that kind of stuff, that's top priority. Getting that fixed before the 29th. That's what we're gunning for. Here are some things that we kind of want to do. Like, they're the next list. Like, yes, we want to get them done as soon as possible before the 29th. I'm not sure. Dedicated servers on that list. Spawn camping, that was that was annoying. Trying to get rid of that. Aim down sight was not great. They got to fix that a little bit. Lower crouching, better hit detection, just kind of these quality of life things here. Apparently it was good data that they got. How much of this stuff they can actually correct in 3 weeks? I don't know. Now, it depends on where their beta build was in comparison to where their final build is, and how, if they had cleaned up some of these things prior to launching the open beta, or if it was a server, a networking test, and that this is actually very, very, very close to the final game, and they have, a decent way to go. I guess we'll find out August 29th. Dead Alliance, the game where zombies are your weapon. And that'll do it for zombie news. That'll do it for the show, pretty much. What's your plan for the week? You guys have things that you're going to be working on? Randy, what are you going to be working on this week? I think you mentioned some of it.
Well, I mentioned a couple. Other than that, I really want to clean up some of these games that I'm very close to finishing in my tag. I've been very close to finishing like 6 music games for months. So maybe I'll get into those this weekend. I think me and Proulx might play some Connect Adventures. Maybe get that done. I'm not really sure. As always, I kind of don't really know, until we really get settled from moving, how much time I'm going to have. So we'll see how it goes. I definitely want to get something on my random to-do list this month. So we'll see.
Yeah, I got you. Proulx, what's your plan for the week?
Yeah, I'm going to keep working on the random to-do stuff. Like I said, I'll be gone on the later half of the week, so I won't get to get a lot of that stuff done. I want to try to stay in Leapfrog at least until I leave. I'm not sure if I'll make it that far, but I'm going to try. And then other than that, I'm just going to keep working on the stuff that, the same stuff that I've been working on. So Titanfall, Halo, Walking Dead, just Clicker Heroes.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm done with the game, but I'll keep playing Rocket League. So
perfect. My plan, I mentioned Firewatch tomorrow. I'm going for the game completion tomorrow. See if I can do it in one sitting. What is it, like a 4-hour thing? So cross my fingers I can get that completed. Zombie Army Trilogy on Sunday, of course. I don't think we will get to finish the game. We have 2 missions left, but I think we have an early night on one of them, so not quite going to finish. But after we do complete the campaign, there's plenty of mop up left. So we've got our work cut out for us on Monday. Deadlight. I have a random to-do list, and that shouldn't be terribly difficult. And then it's cleaning up Titanfall. I need 47 wins to reach Gen 9, and I'm committing to be Gen 9 for next Thursday, so I can get the pilot kills and all this stuff out of the way, so we can start really working on some MVPs. So that's my personal goal, to take that out. As far as Diablo Tuesday, well, I guess I'm switching those because we're moving Diablo to Monday. So Diablo Monday will be earning gold, Tuesday night gaming will be Deadlight, and Tuesday will be boosting Titanfall. And that'll do it, I think, for the show, everyone. I want to thank you all so much for listening. If like I mentioned at the top of the show, if you have the means and would like to support the show financially, Patreon is an amazing place to do that, and we would so greatly appreciate it. We thank everybody who has provided for the show so far. 1 month down, and we are just so thankful that we have such an awesome community that can throw a couple bucks our way just to kind of help mitigate the costs that we already incur on ourselves. If you want to help out with your donation, you can go to patreon.com/Z2Z. Z to Z is all one word. If not, just going to iTunes and giving us a review, that would be amazing. Spreading the word via social media, Twitter, Facebook, wherever, that would also be amazing. So thank you in advance for any of that kindness sent our way. Of course, you can reach us. Probably Twitter is the best, at Z2Z, ZEDTOZED, or email contact@Z2Z.com. And I'll promote my own personal Discord channel, discord.me/Freamhole. That's FREAMWHOLE. And then if you want to follow me individually, Freamhole, same place. Gamertag, Freamhole, all the same places and ways to reach me. Proulx, how can people get in contact with you?
They can find me on Twitter at OneUpDan. That is the number 1, not the word.
Perfect. Randy?
At Randy2727 on Twitter, or Crandy on True Achievements.
Wonderful. And I want to give a big shout out to all the people that help out to make this show happen, both in our community and on the show proper, like Damien and Warren and just everybody who's involved. Thank you. So on behalf of Randy and Proulx, I have been Brandon, and to all of you achievement hunters and Gamerscore junkies out there, thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next episode.
Z to Z Podcast presents Review Z.
All right, so this week on Review Z, I'm back with Planton, Warren.
Howdy.
Hey. And, I don't know. I'm not sure if I can get excited for this one. It is Demetrios, the big is all caps, cynical adventure. So I'll be a cynic for this one, just because.
Wait, you're pulling a rain cloud?
not sure if I'd pull a rain cloud. I can't speak in a monotone voice. Yeah. But anyway, no. So, actually, this was published and developed by Calcat. And actually, I'll butcher the guy's name, but basically it's a single person studio. It was released on August 2nd, 2 days before our birthday, yay, of this year, and has an Xbox Live store price of a very reasonable $9.99. So, okay, I love the multi-genre discussion, but I'm going with this is just a point and click.
Yeah,
I don't know if you could say adventure.
Yeah, I'm not. Adventure is stretching it because of, I mean, you can kind of wander a few different directions, but you're still on a fairly straight path. So, no, it's point and click.
And same argument with the visual novel. There's no arc. There's one arc. So, other than the chasing deaths, we'll get into that. But, I mean, it is a story. Loosely. No, okay, it's a story. I'll give it as a story. So I guess for the premise, you are, well, you could do it two ways. Did you do it with potty humor? I hope you did it with potty humor.
Oh God, yes.
Of course. Okay. So the game starts off and you have a setting. You can have it with toilet humor or no toilet humor. And the game is better enjoyed, for lack of a better term, with potty humor.
I can't imagine it really being that much fun without, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. So, though I will say where I have options to type in things, I think I had more crass things to say than anything that came out. I guess the toilet humor was, things like in the bathroom or eating stuff off, like the cookies off the floor and all that kind of stuff, and where you'd find cookies and the fact that you'd be eating things. So you are the main character of Bjorn Thonin. I don't know. I guess there's supposed to be some joke with the name. I don't get it.
I figured there was because everything else was kind of tongue in cheek, but it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So we will air quote, you were an antique dealer. You basically overprice garbage and sell it in a store. And you've come across this statue, but you're drunk, so you kind of don't have any recollection of things before, and you're also very cynical, so you're kind of ambivalent about all the things that are going on. And so basically the statue and you coming out of a blackout / attack in the morning puts you on a quest to really, I guess, understand this statue and everything that's going on. Would that be a fair way of...
Yeah, that's a pretty good introduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's a little thin on the intro when you start the game.
Yeah, I guess there's 6 chapters to it. Now, there are collectibles. The good news is on all the collectibles, so there's 2 sets of collectibles. There's cookies, and on every screen, not every screen, but most all the screens, there's 3 cookies to be found. For cookies, for lack of a better term, that's what they're supposed to be. But all the graphics are hand-drawn. And so finding the cookies is... And who am I to critique an artist when I myself am not an artist? But this isn't the greatest drawings ever done.
I mean, I guess for a single person studio, I'll give them credit. But if you take it with like everything else, yeah, they're not stellar.
And so trying to find these cookies literally is like sometimes finding a circle just randomly on the screen. So it can be frustrating. Because sometimes you're going, that was a cookie? I couldn't tell. It looked like a semi-circle. Some of them are fairly obvious, but there's definitely screens you'll be staring around there and just moving your mouse all over the place till the question mark shows up just to find the thing. So, part of that was annoying, but what's nice is there is a checklist in the game, so you'll know how many of the cookies you found on each screen. So to get all the cookies, I mean, it's definitely usable. There is, I guess, checkpointing. There's points of no return in your first arc, or not arc, because it's the same story, in your first playthrough. But once you've beat the game, you can go back through level selecting, so you can go back to screens that you may have missed to go back to get the cookies, like, to not spoil anything. But yeah, there's at certain points in the game you can't go back to the beginning.
Yeah, being as though there's a few achievements that are going to make you kind of wish you might have gone back, or that you wish you'd done them. Yeah, apparently, don't worry, the level select will help you with that. Or if you're crazy like me and make lots of saves, because it does let you do that, try to save before the big decisions you make and keep the save available so you can always go back if you need to that way.
Yeah, or you can just look at the achievement list so you don't worry what the secret achievements are, and at least that way you'll kind of know what to do during the game so you don't miss over it. I mean, the story's not bad, but sometimes playing through it a second and third time, at least there is a quick skip dialogue on your second playthrough. So that is...
Oh, that's a plus.
That was a nice add. So the other thing you have to do after you've gone through the game and did all of the achievements, there is a wonderful 0-point achievement. So you might want to save it for, what was that TA thing you guys did?
The Easter egg hunt? It will not be the same event this coming year.
Oh,
sorry.
Spoiler alert.
Whoopsies.
But, okay. So it doesn't matter then. So you have to do, so for getting half of the game over screens and then for getting all the game over screens, there's 2 0G achievements. So if you're a full completionist, and you need all of the achievements, even the 0G achievements, there's 2 0Gs. So I will tell you now, that is all I have left doing. Now, I haven't gone out and looked at Steam to see if they just have where all of the game overs are, since that's really all I have left. I figured I'd try to do it, but there's nothing on TA right now. And some of the deaths, I don't know. I don't know if I would have normally found them.
Well, being as though, I mean... it's just kind of an awkward reach through the first time you play the game anyways. It's pretty much grabbing items and trying to use items and seeing what works. So sometimes you'll discover that, whoops, I guess I shouldn't have done that, and you're at a game over screen and then immediately back to just before you made the decision that killed you. So at least you don't have to replay stuff when it happens. But yeah, you're right. Finding them is gonna be trouble.
Yeah. So, I mean... overall, I mean, from a point-and-click game, it's not horrible. It's very much... the story, I think you're either going to like this story or you're going to be, I don't know, cynical about it. I mean, you can't take the game seriously. It doesn't take itself seriously. And the characters are... intriguing enough that you moderately detest them, but not enough where for me at least, that I wouldn't stop playing.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean,
what about you?
It's not a bad game. You're right. In my opinion, it's lacking the polish that you normally see in a slightly larger funded point and click. I mean, it's the amount of collectibles and how hard they are to find is sometimes infuriating. It's definitely frustrating. It's probably nothing you're going to want to play for a huge length of time, just because trying to find cookies on screen after screen literally just reduces you to sweeping every spot, trying to find the little question mark to show you it's there. On the bright side, the cookies are also hints. So by finding these things, you're able to get a hint to help advance the story if you can't find what you need. I have found it usually takes 2 to 3 cookies to actually get a helpful answer, because they tend to tell you the things you already know for the first couple of cookies. But yes, it's kind of a cool way to help point you in the right direction. There's no achievement tied to not using the hints, so if you feel you need to, definitely eat the cookies. And it's funny when you eat a bunch, actually.
Yeah, and realize you're picking these up off of weird places, a toilet seat, things like that. So when you're eating that cookie, enjoy that cookie.
Oh, yeah.
You worked hard.
Some of them are definitely still moist, more than likely, from where they've been picked up.
I thought that was just a nice warm cookie. So, I mean, overall, from a point and click perspective, yeah, it kept me intrigued enough. The TA timing, it says 6 to 8 hours. I'm thinking if you weren't going for a full completion, you could definitely get through the story in that amount of time. But if you're going for all the game overs and you haven't gone to, like, I guess Steam, I'm assuming, I haven't checked out there yet, but I'm assuming that when I give up, I'll find them on Steam. Yeah, you're probably more at a 10 to 12 hours.
I mean, for a point of reference, I'm at 8 hours played. I've finished the 4th chapter, and I've spent quite a bit of time looking on each screen to find the cookies on the screens. So I estimate on a playthrough with no outside help and also not really paying attention to what the secret achievements were, I'm probably looking at like a 12-hour playthrough.
Yeah, so... I mean, you get for $10 and for a single studio, single person studio release. I give it some pass. I mean, it definitely Kickstart funded, all that kind of stuff. You're like, hey, it's nice to see people taking their ideas and bringing it to life. So,
nope,
I've played worse.
Definitely. So I'd give it a conditional. It's worth a shot if you're into point and clicks, because the price point's not bad. It's not a $20 killer. So, yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, until next week, guys. Thanks for listening.
Peace.